How you doing, fight fans? This is EJ Boxing Live here, and we've got a star-studded panel here. Some of the best channels from the YTBC, and a special guest just jumped in, put some knowledge on us as well. So we have Boxing Beast of Rhymes, we have Jay Dills, we have Michael Pound for Pound from the Boxing Report, we have What You Need, we got T over here from Philly, and we've got Joe Habib, formerly from the Boxing Boys, but now doing his own thing and doing very well and successful in that. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna bring up a topic. Actually, you know what? You guys just say hello to each other while I bring up the topic, man. You guys bring up. So Beats, unmute yourself, and Jay Dills, Joe Habib, and Mike, unmute yourself. You guys say hello and talk to each other for a bit.
What's going on, everybody? How y'all doing?
Yeah, man. Just here, talking some boxing, man. Talking some boxing.
Nice.
Is that you, Jay Dills? That you, Jay Dills?
Yeah.
All right, cool. Michael, you want to take that?
What's going on, fellas? What's going on? Before we begin the show, I want to say, given that today is Mother's Day, I want to wish all the mothers out there a happy Mother's Day, including your mothers and folks in your families who are mothers. So happy Mother's Day to all.
Oh yeah, that's a nice one, Mike. Yeah, absolutely. I think that's only in America, though. I don't think that's over in the UK, innit, Beats?
I don't know.
I don't think.
Well, I like to do it.
But that's good, man. No, it's good though, Mike. I'm not down.
Very important, Michael. Good call.
Yeah, that's right. Good call. All right, so we're gonna get straight into it, yeah. So, you guys give yourself a mute. Let's get straight into the topic. So we're gonna start from everyone mute themselves, please, to get some feedback. Thank you very much. Right. So we're gonna start from Friday. So let's see what guys have watched what. So the first fight on Friday, I think it was Amir Mansour, innit? Amir Mansour fought on Friday. So anyone see the Amir Mansour fight?
Yeah, I saw it.
Go ahead, you go first.
Yeah, he fought Dawejko. Well, that's the best I can do it now. Short, squat looking dude. And when I first saw Joey, about a month or so back when they're building up, I said, who's this guy? Dude, he can't fight. He doesn't look like an athlete at all. But, you know, he turned out to have some decent head movement, some decent side-to-side movement with alternating stances. And the fight was up for grabs, to be honest. Like, you know, Mansour, he looked short on the power that he normally displays. He came in at 30 pounds lighter than what he normally fights. Like, he looked small. Power wasn't there. He pulled it out in the end, the experience, the quicker legs, the more athleticism, the better IQ in the end, better ring IQ told in the end. But the guy actually nearly floored him. I don't know if it was a balance thing, but Mansour stopped himself from touching the canvas. And I tell you what, Joey was better than what I thought. And like, if he works on his game, he won't become world champion, but he can definitely hold his own. He can hold his own. And Mansour, how old is he? He must be pushing 40. He must be pushing at least 40.
42.
42. Okay, older than what I thought. So at this stage here, he's a small heavyweight, and if he's lost that weight and the power's not coming back, I don't advise him to keep yo-yo dieting. He's going to try and come in heavy to get the power back. You know, I don't know. Has he made enough improvements from what I saw in that fight to go to the next level? I'm not sure. It was a decent fight though. They were both cut. You know, wasn't his best performance.
Okay, thanks very much. Jay Dills, you see that fight? Beach, you can mute yourself, please. Yeah, thanks, yeah. Jay Dills.
Okay, I'm here.
You see that fight?
Yeah, I saw the fight. Joey did good lateral movement in the fight. To take away Mansour's power stances and stuff. It was entertaining, back and forth action to an extent, but I say Mansour won based on his experience and pretty much just, you know, if Joey gets more experience fights like this, I think if he ever gets in a fight like that again, he'll pull it off. But Mansour is fading. Like Beats just said, he's pretty small compared to what I'm accustomed seeing him. Mansour, I don't know where I would like to see him do next, to be honest with you, but his performance was kind of like, it was okay, but don't let me know that he can go to another level. He ain't one of those type of fighters, in my opinion. So I enjoy it for what it was for a Friday fight. And hey, this is boxing. You never know what you're going to get. So that's all I gotta say.
All right, good job, Jay Bills. All right, Joe Habib, you see that fight?
Yeah, and the thing about Mansour is obviously he can punch and he's very aggressive and he comes forward and he applies a lot of pressure. But I think he has a problem dealing, gauging his range properly. It seems like a lot of times he's not able to place his shots properly and land them effectively. Now, Joey definitely overachieved in this fight because it had blowout written all over it. I thought Joey was going to get stopped going in. I didn't think he would last. And he made a really good account of himself. And you would have to think that Mansour would be the much better fighter here due to his experience. But with all that being said, Joey was cagey. He moved. He got out of range, and he didn't. He moved away from the power. So the power wasn't really as effective as it could have been or should have been. And another problem with Mansour sometimes is he smothers his power, gets in too close, and he's not the greatest outside fighter. He's more effective, sort of, kind of in the mid range because he likes to throw, big hooks and looping right hands. And I just think that the big problem with his performance was just gauging the range properly and putting the shots together where they would be more accurate and more effective. And I just didn't think he was able to do that. But all in all, he still outworked Joey, and the fight was competitive, more competitive than I expected.
All right, man. Cool, man. Thanks, Joe Habib. Michael, pound for pound box what? You see the Mansour fight?
Yeah, I saw the fight late. To Joe's point as well as Boxing Beats points, I was a little bit disappointed in Mansour's performance. I saw when I saw the fight, I was wondering, wow, he's lost a lot of weight. He's really light, but it took something away from him in my estimation because he didn't get started. The opponent Joe, he fought better than I thought. I would agree with Joe. I thought he was just going to be a blowout. I thought that Mansour would take him out within 5-6 rounds, but he fought well early. But to Mansour's credit, he made some adjustments here and there. I think Joey slowed down a bit. He became more active, Mansour, and the experience, I should say, that was the difference in the end. But Mansour, on a scale of 1 to 10, I give his performance a 5. The weight loss, he may have lost too much weight. You talk about he fights at mid-range. He couldn't find the range, but when the punches did land, they didn't seem to have the greatest effect on Joey. Maybe Joey has a better beard than I thought, but it was an average performance for Mansour. Going forward, I just don't see him going. I just don't see him at a guy who can go up to another level. I wish he would have started his career earlier, but at this point, at age 42, he's only going to go to he's going to plateau out at a certain place, and that's it. I don't see anything special coming out of him. It's just he started too late in his career at this point.
Okay, cool, man. Thanks, Michael. Go ahead, T. Oh, I guess he must be listening. All right, and what you need, you go ahead. I guess.
I don't really have much to say because I didn't watch the fight, so.
Okay. All right. No. All right. T. I see you unmuting yourself. Go ahead, T. Are you talking? I guess maybe you have to sign in and sign back out or something because I can't hear what you're saying. Yeah, your mic's not working. Yeah. Sign back in, sign back out, and see how it goes. Yeah. No problem. All right. When we come back to him, when he comes back in, I'll ask him about it. So we move on to the other fight, and I hope you guys all saw this because this is a good fight here, man. Glen Tapia versus what's this guy's name? I think it's Mike Soro. I hope you guys saw this fight because it was a real good fight, by the way, and I enjoyed it. It was a good fight. So we're gonna go with Beats. Beats, you see that fight?
Didn't see this fight. So.
Okay, all right, no problem. J Bills, you saw that fight?
I partially saw the fight, but I had to leave real quick. I saw the first 2 rounds.
Okay. So you saw the ending, right?
All I know is Tapia lost.
So you didn't really.
Am I?
Go ahead.
Hello?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, Tapia lost, right?
Yeah, he lost. Yeah. You don't know how, why, or whatever, yeah?
he got KO'd, right?
Yeah, you saw the fight. You should be telling us, Joe. That's what I'm saying. You know.
Like, I saw the first 2 rounds, then I got distracted. I had to do something, and then I read on boxing scene, I think, that he got KO'd or something.
Okay, all right. That's the one. All right, don't worry about Joe. This. All right, Joe B. You saw the fight. I can see you. I know. Mute yourself, J. Deals. Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah, what a shocker, huh? I mean, who expected that? Glen Tapia, really aggressive guy, heavy-handed, kind of fades though. You know, it seems like he doesn't know how to control his adrenaline. It seems like he gets overexcited in there when he's throwing big shots and they don't do anything to his opponent. You know, first off, he's getting overexcited, as I said, but then there's kind of a discouragement there as well when he's not landing the shots. It seems like when he's not able to hurt his opponent, there's no plan B, and he just doesn't have that same fire in the fight as when he started. So he's very defensively flawed. We know that, and he kind of leads face first a lot of times. Offensively, he's pretty good when he gets his offense going, but he just got hit with a right hand. Never recovered. And if you saw the end of that fight, a lot of the shots that were being thrown were missing by a mile. But, even the ones that were just hitting him on the top of the head were kind of throwing him off, knocking his equilibrium off. And I just think, obviously, he never recovered from the initial right hand that did the damage. But with all that being said, I'm not going to say he's out of shape, but as I mentioned, and I don't want to beat a dead horse, when you're not able to control your emotion in there and you're fighting just off of aggression, you blow your wad very quick. And I think that's what this guy needs to learn how to do, is learn how to just pace himself a little bit better, learn how to work his way through the tough times, because that adrenaline is going crazy for a lot of different reasons. Obviously, when he's like a Rottweiler let out of a cage when the fight starts, and he's using so much energy early on, and everything's a power punch, he needs to learn how to mix in some of the feelers and the setup punches a little bit better, instead of going balls to the walls right from the jump, because this is the second time we've seen him go balls to the walls here, and it backfired once again. So I think there's a lot of soul searching needs to be done. Maybe a change in trainer, I don't know, but he needs to probably get with a guy like Virgil Hunter, who can work him, work his psyche a little bit, make him think about some defense and not all offense. I think that would help him.
Yeah, I agree with you as well, man. I actually think he's done things since Kirkland. He only fought like a couple of weeks ago as well, coming into that fight. So he looked like he was going on the comeback. But when I see the way he got beat, I'm not too sure if he should be in boxing anymore, because
he needs to be recalibrated mentally. I think physically he's fine. Just needs to be recalibrated mentally. He needs to approach the fight differently moving forward, or the future fights differently moving forward.
Yeah. He was supposed to win that fight. You see, this is the thing. He was supposed to win that fight. That was supposed to be like on a comeback. Like they match him softly. He wasn't supposed to lose that fight, and the way he lost that fight, that is a real blow, because he's usually on Facebook, right? He's on my Facebook, and usually when he wins or whatever, he'll play. This time he ain't said nothing. He ain't said nothing.
He's a great guy. I mean, he's a great guy. I've talked to him a few times. I've interviewed him before. He's a really great guy. Has a great attitude. From what I hear, because I know people that were affiliated with him in New Jersey. People watched him train and watched him spar. He's a hard worker. So the physical thing is there. Yeah. Again, he just has to work out in his mind and find an identity that you can't knock everybody out. You can't do that in this sport, especially when the opposition gets better. And that's something that hopefully, being knocked out twice now, he learns, because he's at a crossroads right now. One more fight like this and it's time to retire.
Absolutely. Thanks, Joe. All right, let's move on. Mike, go ahead, Mike.
Oh, remind me of the fight we're talking. Glen Tapia. Okay.
Yeah.
When I see Tapia, it's like he is a poor man's version of the early Nigel Benn. In terms of he to Joe's point, he splits his wall. He throws too many hard shots in the beginning, trying to land the big shot, trying to land with power. He leaves himself open. He gets caught, and he also fades. In this fight, this was all set up for him to win and win big. I didn't know much about Soto going in. Tapia fighting, I think, in his hometown or close to his hometown. The fight, it was back and forth. There was some good shots landed by Tapia. He had the edge in the first 3 rounds, and it was just a case of him getting too aggressive, leaving himself open slightly. Had the left hand low, had the right hand not up enough, and Soto caught him big. And once he caught him big, he never really recovered. He landed some shots there with the flurry, but once he went down initially, it was basically over. I agree with Joe in the fact that I don't think he's physically done. I just think he needs someone to give him a different mindset, to give him a different approach in terms of the style of the fight. Is he the greatest talent in the world? No, but at the same time, if you look at him and the way he fights, there are room for improvement, which can make him become a better fighter. And I think that's what he needs, a different approach, a different trainer to teach him the subtleties of the sport, to teach him how to use the jab better, to tighten up the defense. I think if he does that, he can certainly improve. But unless he doesn't, he will always be in a situation where he will always leave himself vulnerable. He doesn't have the greatest chin in the world. He has stamina issues, and he will only go so far. He's limiting himself in terms of his approach to the sport. He needs a different mindset.
1 minute, Mike. Hey, T, your mic's working, bro. You just need to stay on mute, bro. Like, cause Michael. Yeah. Also, Michael, you're speaking very low as well. Like, I'm not too sure. I don't know what's going on. Like, you seem really in the background right there.
Okay, what you can do is call me via Skype, and I'll get off and I'll join via Skype.
Okay, no problem. Yeah.
That was me, guys. That was me. My bad.
No. Michael's mic's low anyway. So, Mike, I'll call you on Skype. Yeah.
I'll get off and call me via Skype.
No. Stay there. Say it again. It sounds loud now.
I was saying, call me via Skype.
Nah, it sounds alright now. It just sounds that pitch.
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead,
Yeah,
Mike.
that was my mic kicking in, man. He was good. My bad. I'm gonna mute myself.
Yeah, okay. Go ahead, Michael. Go ahead.
Basically, I was just saying that Glen Tapia, he needs a different approach. I agree a lot with what Joe was saying. He's too aggressive to me. He reminds me of a poor man's version of Nigel Benn. When Nigel Benn was first coming onto the scene, and that he has power, he has talent, but he wastes a lot of shots, and he cannot do that given the fact that he's leaky in terms of his chin. He needs a different approach. He needs to use the jab better. He needs to have someone teach him subtleties of the sport, how to use defense. What I think will that take him towards a world title? No, but I just think it will improve him as a fighter. So I don't think it's a physical thing with him. His approach is off. His mental, his strategy is off in terms of how he approaches each fight.
Okay, cool, no problem, Mike. All right, cool. Thanks for that, Mike. All right, T, unmute yourself then, bro. T. Don't mess around. You was just there a second ago, bro. You was just there a second ago. Your equipment be messing up, bro. Oh man. All right. Yo, what you need? What you need? Unmute yourself, my man. You see the fight? Hello. Yo, T. Yo, what you need? Are you there? I'm not talking. I'm seeing like I'm here talking by myself. Am I talking about? Okay, I'm gonna move on, man. I'm gonna move on because you guys are. What you need?
Yeah, just move on. Just move on if you.
Yeah, because
just move on.
EJ, I can hear you fine. I mean,
we're like shit. Like what you need is obviously thing. And T, you there? I guess the problem with his mic still, man. Shit. Let me move on to the next subject. All right, so we're gonna move on to the Trout fight. And you guys see the Trout fight, Beach? You see the Trout fight, right?
No.
Okay. Yo, J. Dills, you see the Trout fight?
No, I didn't. I didn't even know he was fighting.
Yeah, he was fighting on the PBC card. Joe Habib, you saw the fight?
Actually, I didn't think it was televised. I saw like the end of it where they showed the highlights. That's
what I saw. Yeah, that's what I saw. I saw the highlights of it, but they had So, but he looked alright though. He looked. No. Go ahead.
I mean, He's a solid fighter. I mean, he can definitely come back and do some things. You know, obviously that his opponent wasn't the greatest opponent, but you know, Austin Trout can still fight. You know, he can still fight. He's had some tough, you know, fights in the past. I thought the Canelo fight was extremely close. I actually scored that fight a draw. But you know, I thought Arislandi Lara handled him pretty well. But other than that, I think he's been competitive in every fight he's been in. The Cotto fight obviously was impressive. You know, the big thing is he just doesn't really have that big of a punch, but he can. You know, he's excellent in engaging range. He's really good on the outside. He's got quick feet. He's got an excellent jab. Hooks very well off that jab, which he's able to catch people off guard with. So you know, he's really good, a really good combination puncher. And you know, he varies up his combinations. He varies up his offense. Very versatile. Sometimes, you know, when he stays in the pocket a little too much, he doesn't always move his head properly. But he's one of them guys where his legs are his defense. So he can, you know, he's very quick on his feet. He can pop in and dart out real quickly. So I think he's still a solid fighter. I'd like to see him back in the mix with the big guys, the big names, and hopefully we can see him in a title fight again.
Absolutely, man, absolutely. Hey, JD, you need to mute yourself though, because I'm getting feedback. Thanks, yeah. All right, Michael, let me quick. T, your mic working now?
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. You're fine. I'll come into you in a minute. Okay. T, is your mic working? I guess not. Let me go to Mike. Mike, you see the fight?
What fight is that?
No, I didn't see the fight. I just saw the highlights during the Kameda McDonnell fight. But Joe pretty much wrapped up the assessment of Trout. Third straight win following his losses to Canelo and Lara. From the highlights I saw, he looked good. I thought he looked pretty good in his last fight. Hopefully this move, I would like to see him step up in competition more. And hopefully he'll land another big fight soon, because I think he can still win some fights at 154.
Okay. No problem. JD, you need to keep yourself on mute though. Okay. Yeah. So T, I guess your mic's not working. We're talking about the Austin Trout fight. What you need?
Okay. Yeah, Trout looked good. Got the stoppage. Good stuff. What I wanted to say for the previous fight, I didn't get to talk about it, was Glen Tapia and Michael Soro. So I think Michael Soro is a very solid fighter, actually. I think it wasn't so much Glen Tapia. I know he doesn't have much of a defense, but Michael Soro, he impresses me. I watched a couple of fights that he did. One was on Showbox versus I can't remember the gentleman's name. He's slick. Glen Tapia came out in the first round. Michael was just checking him out, seeing what he had. Second round, they had a different plan, and they started to build their offense. Basically, Glen Tapia wasn't landing anything on Michael Soro, and then in the third round, Soro started taking it over. I don't know if anybody was noticing that. And then in the fourth, what really knocked out Glen Tapia, if you guys checked it out, it was a counter right, or pull counter, followed by a left hook. That's what really messed him up. And once he got messed up, he didn't take a knee. He tried to bob and weave and get out of it, and he got caught with two more shots. The last shot was a left hook that sent him sprawling to the corner. I think his whole nervous system is messed up from that fight with Kirkland. When Kirkland hit him with that shot after the referee had already stopped the fight, that was a very, very dangerous shot. It could have permanently damaged Glen Tapia. And I think Kirkland should have actually been disqualified as far as I'm concerned. But he wasn't. So
was a bit strong. It's a bit strong. You really think he should have been disqualified after that? Really?
Because the ref had come between him and Glen Tapia. He actually left hooked him over the referee who was between them. I looked at it a couple times, and he hit Glen Tapia flush while he was out. That's something could permanently damage a guy, you know.
Yeah, I I agree. Still, that I agree with you. I think he's taking some. But you know what? He looked like he was on a comeback trail. But on that fight alone, there's certain things you said he could have took the knee and stuff like that. But go ahead anyway. You talk about it. Go ahead.
Well, he doesn't have much of a defense, and his trainer was telling him about offensive shots to use, but he wasn't telling him anything about defense at all. He was not respecting range. This is a simple defensive thing. When Soro was started hitting with shots flush on the chin, he wasn't rolling any of the punches. He wasn't doing any of that. No precaution whatsoever. So you know, it was sad that he got knocked out, but you could see it inevitably happening in this fight. And Soro's not a joke. The guy fought at middleweight. He fought to a draw for the, I can't remember, it's the WBO, some belt at middleweight against a pretty slick opponent as well. So this guy from France, I'm actually going to pay more attention to this guy. Yeah, it's interesting. Solid fighter.
Hey man, that was a good breakdown from that fight. You actually went in depth on that. You're right. I forgot about that. Like when it looked like he should have took the knee. And you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know if he's too much is it a machismo, or he just didn't want to too much, like, you know, he's a Jersey boy.
I think he wasn't aware. I don't think he was aware of what was really going on, because this guy was mounting a defense on him, but he wasn't aware of that. And I think the other thing was he doesn't fight going backwards. You ever notice that? Glen Tapia can't fight on the back foot.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You see, he doesn't. You start pushing him backwards, he doesn't know what to do. So that's the other problem with him. So he has a lot of things to rectify, to fix, you know. With respect to the other fight, which was Austin Trout, really impressive. Really, that southpaw, he seems to be really getting back to the form that we saw when he fought Cotto, you know. So let's see how far Trout can go as well. You know, some things are still in the back of his mind, I know, but I think he's got that spirit to really keep going, keep progressing forward in the junior middleweight division. Yeah,
I mean, I had him in that fight. I mean, I was watching loads of people beat and rested. I had him winning that fight, actually, but, you know, in the day, you know, it is what it is. Look, maybe some people didn't like, some people, Joe Happy had a draw, so, you know what I'm saying? It is what it is. All right, I'm going to go to Natty. Thanks, what you need. You can mute yourself, and let me go to Natty Turner. So we've got 3 fights, Natty Turner. We got how you doing, bro? You got the Mansour fight. You see that? You saw that fight, right?
Yeah, I saw that fight. I was watching that.
Go ahead. Just talk on the Mansour fight real quick.
It seemed like the guy was giving him trouble earlier, but he kind of adjusted, like maybe after the 4th or 5th round. You know what I mean? He started pressuring the dude a little bit better. The dude started to lose a little steam. He started throwing a little less punches. But, you know, the guy was kind of countering him and kind of confusing him with switching from orthodox to southpaw. But and it seemed like Mansour, they said he came in maybe about 20 pounds or 30 pounds lighter than his previous fight. I don't know if that has anything to do with it, but he seems like the power wasn't really in his shots for this particular fight, because he landed a bunch of nice, clean shots on this dude, and it's like the dude wasn't going nowhere, and he's been knocked out before. You know what I mean? The dude that he was fighting, though, that wasn't anybody of significance. He wasn't in shape, and you could tell. You know what I mean? He tried to make a decent effort of it, but you know, you could tell that, you know, he wasn't in shape for a professional fight, in my opinion. And you know, Mansour kind of took it out of there, and you know, you would think he would be more affected by that headbutt that cut over his eye, but Mansour kind of acted like it wasn't even there, man. So he showed a lot of grit with that, as far as I'm concerned. But his competition level, I wasn't really impressed with it, and he did what he was supposed to do, man.
Okay, talk about Glen Tapia fight.
Glen Tapia fight. I really feel sorry for that kid, man. You know what I mean? It was a excellent performance by Michel Soro, and he boxed beautifully. He countered beautifully. You know what I'm saying? He measured his shots. He timed his shots. You know what I'm saying? He controlled range. And you know what I mean, he just pretty much outclassed Tapia and allowed Tapia to exert all his energy and punch himself out. And then he took over, man. And once Tapia got caught with a decent shot, man, he didn't really know what to do. He tried to hold on, you know what I mean? But that's not how you tie up, you know what I mean? He was like reaching. He was like kind of outstretching his arms and trying to reach for the guy, and the guy wasn't allowing that, you know what I'm saying? And he tried to flail and, you know, throw punches, and, you know, that was his plan B, but that wasn't helping him, you know what I'm saying? He was just leaving himself open for more clean shots to be landed, and, you know, he got taken out of there, man. The ref saved him from himself, because it looked like he was gonna try to continue. He wanted to try to continue, but that dude would have knocked him unconscious if he got back up.
Okay. The Austin Trout fight.
I didn't see the Austin Trout fight.
Okay, cool.
But I heard Austin Trout got a KO, man. So or a TKO. So that's good money for Austin Trout. It looked like he's trying to get back into form. And I know that it was a late replacement opponent. You know what I mean? So both of them really had to adjust to each other. Both of them didn't, you know, anticipate fighting each other. So it was a good thing that Austin Trout got that victory, and the way he got that victory, because he's not known as a knockout puncher, and he's had like 2 or 3 knockouts in his last few fights. So that's pretty good for Austin Trout. I know he's ready to step the levels up right now.
Okay, cool, man. Cool. All right. So we've covered that. Is any of you guys? I hope everyone's talked on the topic. Okay, I think we covered everything. Everyone's already talked about the fight. All right, we're going over to the UK. All right, we're going to do some quotes. Beats. I'm with you, Mike. So we're going to start with you. Is it Yo Kaf? Is it? What's his name? Is it thingy Kafai? What's that kind of little Muslim dude? What's his name?
Kafai, yeah.
Yeah, go ahead, Beats. Go ahead. Go on. Talking his opponent and talk about that fight, and then also after that fight, Beats, jump straight onto the Joshua fight. I'm not going to cover the Matthew Macklin fight because I actually didn't see that. But I'm just going to cover them 2 fights, so the Joshua fight and the Joe Kafia. Go ahead.
Yao Kafai, Asian fighter, British based. Got some ability there, man. He's got some ability. Like the way he set up his knockout punch, you know, like his African opponent was trying to escape the right hand. So he moved center, left of Cal's center, and he was expecting my guy to move with him so he could, like, you know, just face off equal and then start the action again. But he didn't do that. He stayed out of the guy's peripheral, and instead of he ignored the backhand and he threw the left and he timed it perfectly. And, you know, it's just an angles thing. It's an angles thing, and like it's good to see British fighters doing that. You know, using some real intellect behind their boxing. I was impressed. I was like, wow, okay, where you learn that? You know what I mean? It was good stuff. Good stuff. And he's been looking impressive. He's looking very impressive. And Anthony Joshua, he took apart Zumbano Love, whatever his name is, Eder Joffre's grandson, apparently.
Whose grandson?
Eder Joffre.
Who's that?
He used to fight fighting Harada back in the day. He's Brazil's best fighter. He's a really good fighter back in the day.
Yeah, that's what you get.
Joffre was a great bantamweight. Moved up and won the featherweight title as well. So
yeah.
Fighter in South American history.
Yeah.
You guys, go ahead, Beast. Go ahead.
Joshua took the guy apart, and this guy gave Eric Molina, who might be fighting for the world title, some work. He actually took Shannon Briggs the distance, and by all accounts, he's got a high KO percentage. And I'm trying to pick faults in Joshua because, some people are stupid. Oh, you're racist against British fighters. I said, no. I do history on boxing. So I've studied it. From Bombardier Billy Wells, we've had the term, what was invented in America, horizontal British heavyweight.
What? Say that again?
Horizontal British heavyweights.
What do you mean? You mean they just come over and they lay on their back? What? Explain what that means.
Right. Horizontal, like it was phrased by the American boxing fraternity, because as soon as the British heavyweights stepped up a level, they got flattened. Right? So that's why they were named that, right? I mean, like, people are stupid, man. Like, and so from Bombardier, so I'm all Bombardier Billy Wells to Bruce Woodcock to Henry Cooper. Jack, Brian London, they all get flattened as soon as they move up. So I give, and Frank Bruno too. I always give the British heavyweights a hard time. They have to really do something to make me come out of my skeptic box. And Joshua so far, he ain't giving me nothing. So I'm just like, damn, he's as good as I think he is. Because I tell you what, man, he doesn't make any mistakes. He doesn't make much mistakes. And to me, he looks really good. He looks really good, man. Like, he's determined, he's powerful, his jab, like, I heard someone said he ain't got a powerful jab, and I'm thinking, damn, really? He's pretty powerful to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, he took the guy apart. And, yeah, he looks good. He's ready for Kingpin Johnson. This is not the acid test, but I expect him to win well. I expect him to be the first man to stop Kingpin Johnson. It's a big claim. I think he can do it. I think he can do it. And before I hand it over, Errol, you got the Texas bill. I hope you ain't forgot the Texas bill.
I'm beats. I've got everything lined up. I'm doing the UK one first. The Frank Biglione fight. Did you see that?
I saw it. You see the guy he fought, Lee Markham. We saw him at the where was we?
We saw him at the Yorko, yeah.
We saw him at the Yorko against Smile. He fought.
Oh, that was him against. Oh, that was him. Yeah, we wiped him out. Yeah.
Yeah, he fought. Yeah. And it was a draw. It was a draw. It was a good fight, man. It's a good fight. I tell you what, man, that Markham dude is a tough dude. Because I think he's either trained or managed by, what's his name? Dominic Negus. Remember Dominic? Like,
yeah.
You're not got me. I put you to sleep, mate. He fought Andy Harrison. So it was a good fight. It was a good fight. Markham's tough, boy. He's tough. And Biglione, you can see he was fighting for his career. You know when two men are fighting for their career? Because Markham lost his last fight, like in the Yorko. And Biglione, you know, since Sergei Kamitsky took him apart, Steve Collins has taken him on. And from what I hear, Steve Collins ain't really taking no shit. Like, look, if you can't make it here, you're finished. So both guys are really fighting for, just to stay alive in the game. And I think it should be a rematch. It was a split draw. They should do it again. Well,
Smiley gave him a close fight anyway. So I thought Smiley was going to lose that fight. So it shows the levels that they're, Smiley, thing. All three of them are kind of similar levels, isn't it?
Yeah, super middles, man. The super middles, man, doing their thing. It was a good fight.
Hey, Beats, tell the fight fans that fight again so they can watch it later on. Frank Biglione versus who?
Lee Markham.
All right, thanks for that boxing, Beats, man. Got it out. Move on, you, Joe Habib. Joe Habib, I forgot to cover Diego De La Hoya. Did you see that fight?
Actually, I missed the Diego De La Hoya fight. When was that on? Was that a Friday night fight too?
No, that was a Thursday night. But I meant to mention because you're over in the States, and I was thinking.
You know what? I actually was out that day. I missed it actually, but Diego De La Hoya, I like the kid. I mean, he's exciting. He's fan friendly, but I think he stands a little too straight up, and I don't know. I just think that if he fights somebody who can capitalize on some of his mistakes, I don't know. I just see holes. I see some defensive holes. I don't like how he kind of puts his hands so close to his face and does that little like conventional air muff type thing a lot of times. Yeah. I like to see it. I like to see a tall guy keep his hands out in front of his face, like Virgil Hunter was saying during the telecast of the Kameda fight. He made some great points there, and I think the comments he made about what's his name, Kameda's opponent. I'm trying to.
Oh, you talking about Jamie McDonald?
McDonald, exactly. Another tall. I apologize. I forgot.
That's all right.
Move blank. But I think some of the comments that Virgil Hunter made about McDonald could be applicable to Diego De La Hoya. And I think that you gotta use your height, and you gotta utilize your physical gifts. And if you're not doing that, if you're putting your hands like this, and then you have to constantly reposition your hands to attack. I've never been a big fan of that, and I see Diego De La Hoya do that a lot. I've seen Pacquiao do that a lot, and it's not something I'm a big fan of. And I think when he gets in those postures, I think that a guy could really step on the gas pedal and capitalize on some of that. But all in all, I mean, we'll see what happens. They're moving him very slowly, and it's going to be interesting to see when the level of opposition steps up, because I've seen him tested before against guys that I thought he was a lot better than. I've seen guys have success against him that, and I wouldn't have expected them to have that type of success against him, and they did. So I don't know. The jury is still out on Diego De La Hoya, in my opinion.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, his fight went the decision he wanted. Like, but it's obviously he's got the name and but he done all right. To, go decision. We'll see where he goes from this point on. But so Joe, I take it you didn't see none of the UK cards.
I'm ashamed of myself because I guess you told me the Felix Sturm fight was on YouTube, and I didn't think to do a search for that because I would have liked to have watched that fight. Anthony Joshua, you can say what you want about Anthony Joshua, but a lot of times when you see a fighter move up and progress in his career, obviously he's still in somewhat of the infancy stages of his career. You have to give him the eye test because everyone deserves a chance to go through the gauntlet. You know what I'm saying? Go through the proper steps of entering, the upper echelon. You don't want to just jump to the upper echelon, obviously. And Anthony Joshua has been gradually moved. And I think the Kevin Johnson fight is another step up, and it's a great move for them to move Anthony Joshua like this. Obviously, he's got a great amateur background, done very good things as an amateur. But when you look at Anthony Joshua, and you can question the opposition, but he still does what he needs to do. And a lot of guys don't always do what they need to do or they're supposed to do. So, Anthony Johnson is doing those things. He's getting the guys out of there. He's fighting very controlled. He doesn't look reckless in there. He's not fighting down to the level of his opposition. Definitely looks like an athletic guy. He's got some power to him. He has a better than average, sophisticated attack. Leads with the jab well, sets up his shots very well, places his shots very well. And it doesn't make the same types of mistakes that fighters usually make earlier in their career where they get overexcited, they start winging haymakers. He fights very controlled. And, when he sees the opening, he'll drop down the hammer and he'll hurt his guy. And when he hurts his guy, he doesn't play around him. He gets him right out of there. So I think Anthony Joshua has a lot of potential. Obviously, he has to live up to that potential, and he has to, do it. You just can't assume he's going to do it. You just can't say it. He's got to do it. But I give him the benefit of the doubt, and I see big things, in the future for this kid as time goes on. Because I like how he's relaxed, paces himself, and he seems like a cerebral fighter, even though he can punch. He doesn't take advantage of that power. He doesn't oversell that power. He sets that power up, and that's what I like about the guy.
Absolutely, man. Boy, did you? So I need to send you a link for his last fight, boy.
Yeah, send me all these links, and you know what? I'm gonna be a little bit more smarter in the future. And I'm going to start doing some searches. I used to do searches before, but, I got a little lazy this weekend.
That's all right. What I'm going to do, because we're going to try and do this like every Sunday now from now on. So what I'll do before, with the panel, I'm going to send links up. So make sure, especially if I get them, I'll send links so everyone can kind of especially before the in the day, so you can try and watch all the fights because it helps, when we're talking about everyone. It's also good, it's the first time when most of us all got together right now. All right, Michael, thanks for that, Joe Habib. Michael. So did you see any of the UK card?
I saw the Joshua fights.
Go ahead.
Beats made said earlier in his commentary that a perception about the British heavyweight. Sadly, here in the States, that perception.
Hey, Michael, your mic's a bit lower there. Your mic's a bit.
The perception of that Beats made about British heavyweights. Sadly, here in the States, wasn't just limited to heavyweights. It was extended to a lot of British fighters. I think over the last 15, 20 years, watching fights from the UK, that perception has changed. And you see it in Joshua. When I look at the heavyweight division, in the future of the heavyweight division, I see two guys. I see Deontay Wilder and I see Anthony Joshua. The thing that impresses me about Joshua is that when you look at him you see the athletic gifts, you see the powers, you see the size. But from a technical standpoint, I don't see many mistakes from him. He throws every punch well. He throws every punch correct. He's to the point. He's sharp. And he fights with intelligence. So for me, I said it earlier when I did my show a few months back that I think that Anthony Joshua, looking at him, I think he's a potential world champion. The guy that he fought, solid guy with the distance with Briggs. And Joshua, he was patient. He took his time. And once he struck, he finished him off. I was very impressed by what I saw, and I think he will beat Kevin Johnson when they fight in a pretty impressive manner. And again, I just think the potential for him is limited. I may be jumping the gun here, but I'm very excited about Anthony Joshua. I think in time, I see a potential world champion here. I like what I saw.
Mm. Absolutely, boy. Yeah, boy. Look, you guys in the States, as long as you guys know who he is, then that's the main thing. Thanks for that, Mike. Go ahead, Mr. Natty Turner. Natty, unmute yourself.
Yeah, Medea, man. I didn't see any of the British fights, man.
Oh, that's all right, Natty. All right, Natty. No
I didn't see any of the British fights.
All right, we move. All right, what you need? You see any of the British fights?
Nah.
All right, then, cool. All right, mute yourself, you guys. All right, we're gonna go back on. Actually, I don't think Saeed, do you see any of the British fights?
It's Assad, and no, I didn't see any of the British fights. It's all good. No, I didn't see any of the British fights. I mean, I've been hearing about Anthony Joshua, based on him being an Olympian and whatnot. I just haven't given myself enough time. I've been a little bit ignorant about it, but I'm gonna get on it the next weekend.
Okay, no problem, Assad. Thanks for that, bro. All right, mute yourself. All right, so what we're gonna do? We're gonna go into the Texas card. We've got actually quickly. Assad, did you see the Trout fight on the Texas card?
I didn't see the Trout fight. I forgot he was fighting. I stopped paying attention to Trout back when he almost got knocked out that last time he fought, and I'm not really big. I think he's kind of washed up now.
Oh my God.
I really do think so. I mean, he was a good talent, and I just think he just doesn't have any confidence anymore, and he ends up always getting hit with a big punch every time he fights now.
But you didn't see his last fight, right?
No, I refuse to watch his fights anymore.
So you don't know he won by knockout in his last, impressively as well, right? All right, okay, don't worry about it. All right.
So who was he fighting? And nobody?
Nah, well. But
that's his job, man. He's supposed to knock him out. That's his job. He's supposed to knock out a guy who's not good as you. That's your job to do. So.
All right. Assad's on it, bro. Assad's on point today, boy.
It's a day job. It's a day job. You knock out who you're supposed to knock out. It's in the story.
No mercy. All right, son. All right. We move on to boxing beats, yeah. So, son. All right. So, beats. We're going into the Texas card. No problem, son. All right. So let's go straight into it. Do you see the Jamie McDonnell fight first? Jamie McDonnell versus Tomoki Kameda. Let's move on. We're getting into the good stuff now. Go ahead.
Yeah. Cracking fight, man. Cracking fight.
Go ahead.
Kameda, unbeaten, WBO champion. For some reason they wouldn't sanction this fight, so he gave up the belt. He came out looking good, looking accomplished, good feet, good technique, good skills. He floored Jamie with a right hook, I think it was. Jamie dropped his left hand, and he caught him nicely, man. And Jamie went down heavily, man. He got back up, looked like he was okay. Jamie is a massive bantamweight. He's big, man. He's 5'10". He's got at least a 72-inch reach or something like that. A bantamweight, man. And like he was struggling. He was struggling by midway, but he came back into it. The long punches, he was really determined as well. He gave up his height a little too much. He doesn't box enough for me. If he's gonna use so much volume, he needs to be using a lot of it from the back foot. But he doesn't do that. He's quite aggressive. But he done the right thing, man. Like he took the fight to the guy, and Kameda, he seemed like he ran out of ideas, ran out of ambition, and didn't want to push himself, really pull it out.
Natty, you have to mute yourself, Natty. Here, facts. Go ahead, Beats.
Lost his unbeaten record, and he's got himself to blame. But Jamie really went for it. The crowd started booing after. I was just saying.
You know why though?
Why is that though?
Because Tomoki Kameda's from Texas. He's immigrated from Japan. He's moved to Texas. They call him the Mexican, what's it? Mexican thing, isn't it? But he's Mexican.
Okay, that's only recently did that, I'd assume, because all his early fights are in Japan.
Yeah. The Japan, they kicked him out, so he's basically based in Texas, and it was that's a kind of a home fight for him.
Yeah. They were booing Jamie, but I thought Jamie won, man. I thought Jamie won the fight. Good fight though, very good fight.
Okay then, cool. Move on. Who dropped out? Someone dropped out. All right, Joe Habib, go ahead.
I thought it was an excellent fight to watch. When I was watching the first half of the fight, I thought Kameda was going to rout him. I thought it was going to be one-sided. But McDonnell really showed some perseverance in there, some mental toughness and discipline, because he hung in there. He was catching some big shots, and he remained. He was able to retain his composure, which was very impressive. Obviously, world champion, but he started, using his reach, started using his physical advantages as the fight wore on. And maybe Kameda faded a little bit because he threw everything but the kitchen sink at McDonnell, and McDonnell was still there. So maybe he was a little discouraged. Maybe he was a little tired. But with that being said, McDonnell definitely kicked it into second gear, got his second wind, and the jab was key. The jab was offsetting Kameda in the second half of the fight, wasn't allowing him to jump in, because he seemed to me to be very effective in the mid-range. He's not really a great inside fighter, but a pretty sharp guy. When he's in that mid-range, can reel off the quick combinations, beautiful right hand. But I think that he was taken out of his comfort zone as the fight wore on in the second half, and he wasn't able to get in position where he could really sit down on his shots and hurt Jamie like he was doing early in the fight. Jamie just said, you know what? I can't let him get in that comfort zone. I'm going to take him out of the comfort zone. I'm going to fight him from the outside, keep him at a distance, keep him at bay, and land my shots from the outside, turn my shots over, and he was able to just keep him on the outside. It was a close fight. Kind of could have went either way, but I think Jamie finished strong, and he may have eked it. But it was a very entertaining fight, very close fight, and I really love how Jamie was able to adapt and make the adjustments and win that second half of the fight. Props to him.
Mm. Yeah, it was a good fight. I actually met him on the Wembley build when he won his world title, and when I met him, I'm not gonna lie to you, Joe, he looks like a mad dog. He's crazy, and he beats his right. He's absolutely tall for the weight class. He's absolutely really tall, and for him, it's like when I talk to him, he goes, I'm actually very strong at the weight, and he's like, when I make the weight, these guys, they can't live with me. It's the moment, because what it is, he's actually a very slow starter, but because of his height, and because he squeezes himself down to the weight, as the fight goes on, this dude gets stronger and stronger, and he's got an exceptional engine that he can continue. And Kameda didn't know, because Kameda's been, watching this Kameda, he's been having his way with everyone, more or less dominated. But when he went against this guy, it was the first real test. And you can see Kameda. I'm gonna lie to you. To me, it looked like Kameda's flashy and fast and that. It was like a boy and a man. And Jay McDonnell showed his man strength, and he was putting it on Kameda late in the round. And even though from that knockdown, that was a real. If you want to get Jay McDonnell, you better get him out of it early. And I thought Kameda, when he knocked him down, should have just stamped on it. And he couldn't do it. Like you said, he just got stronger and stronger as the fight go on. And you know what? It was hard pressed to take the belt from the champion, because old school. You got to take the belt from the champion. I don't think Kameda did it, even though Kameda was a champion himself. You couldn't do it. Now you need to mute yourself, man. I don't think they could have. I don't think they could have took the belt away from the champion like that. So yeah, Joe B, I agree with you, man. He took it away. I think a point. That's it. But I know what they were doing. But hey, Jay McDonnell's is a tough dude, man. He's a tough dude. I was impressed with him. So yeah, thanks for that. Go ahead.
And Kameda is a very dynamic fighter, and I just think that he's used to having his way with guys. Used to being able to impose his athleticism on his opponents. Yeah. But McDonnell took that away from him in the second half of the fight. He took that away from him because Kameda needed to get in that mid range, and he wasn't allowed to get back in that mid range area of the pocket as that fight wore on. He took him right out of his comfort zone.
Exactly. Yeah, absolutely, Joe. Thanks for that. Go ahead, Michael from Pound Pound Box Support.
Very, very good fight from a technical aspect. I love the analysis of Virgil Hunter. He was on point, noting the nice little subtle things that Jamie McDonnell was doing to turn the fight around. A point of clarification, first off, Kameda, he moved to Mexico to live and train when he was 16 years old. He's 23 now, so he's been there for a while. So that's why he has so much popularity in that area part of the country, because he lives and trained there for so long. He speaks fluent Spanish, and he didn't get kicked out of the country. He left on his own accord because of the controversy, mainly by his older brother Koki.
Explain the controversy, because for the people.
The Kameda brothers, particularly Koki and their father, has had so much controversy with the Japanese Boxing Commission. I mean, the middle brother, in a title fight, bit the ear of a fighter, and he was ordered to do so by his father. They've had back and forth, and for that, the Japanese Boxing Commission, they suspended him, and they suspended his father from training and whatnot. So they have a lot of beef, the Kameda brothers, particularly Koki, who former flyweight, bantamweight, junior bantamweight champion who recently moved back down to 115, and their father. They have a lot of issues with the Japanese Boxing Commission. They've been suspended, and Tomoki, he moved to Mexico to train, one, to become a better fighter, but two, to to leave all that is the issues that they have with the Japanese Boxing Commission. So it's a point of clarification there. As I was saying, a good technical fight. The first 4 rounds, Tomoki, he used his speed and his athleticism to get to McDonnell, who, to me, when I see him physically, he reminds me of Zolani Tete, the junior bantamweight champion. Both are extremely tall and long for their divisions. But you can see in round 4 or 5, McDonnell, he used his height. He did a better job of staying away from Kameda, countering well. He used the jab better, a little bit more subtle movement to the side. And when Kameda tried to get inside, he landed some nice counter punches with the right hand, as well as some body punches as well. He began to step up the activity level while there was a precipitous drop with Kameda in terms of his output. And I like the way that McDonnell, he bit down, and you can see that once he got down, he was determined to win. He was determined to say, this is not going to happen. I'm not going to lose tonight. And it was that intangible, his determination, the way he bit down, as well as the adjustments he made midpoint of the fight, that really carried it for him at the end. When I initially scored it, I had it 2 points for Kameda in a close fight. But upon watching the rematch, I could understand why they gave the decision to McDonnell. So overall, for me, it was a fun fight to watch from a really technical standpoint. You had to watch the subtle things there. And Virgil Hunter, again, he gave really good analysis of pointing the small things that McDonnell did to take control towards the later rounds of the fight. So very good fight to me. I like what I saw a lot.
Absolutely, man. I agree with you, man. It was a good fight. I was actually watching it before we came on, and very technical fight. And Kameda, I guess he can come back, but Jay McDonnell showed, like, he's one of the best in the division. I was actually looking on the top 10 rankings where they haven't really ranked him. They still got Shumi. What's his name again? Shumi, the other Japanese guy. They've got him number 1. I see if McDonnell could face him. I'd love to see that fight now. So maybe that could happen. All right, moving on to Natty. Go ahead, Mr. Natty Turner.
Man. Yeah, man. Excellent fight, man. That's the third time I'm seeing both fighters, actually. You know what I mean? I remember we was watching McDonnell on another card, on the UK card, maybe a couple months ago, and they said that this was going to be his next fight. I believe it was postponed for a while, and, they finally got in the ring together. But yeah, man, it was a very close fight, very tactical fight. I think the adjustment was definitely made after the knockdown. You know what I mean? Now, after the knockdown, I thought Kameda was going to take him out of there, man, to be honest with you. But Jamie McDonnell went back to the corner, you know what I'm saying, got the right instructions, made the adjustments, and I believe that he pulled it out on my scorecards. I didn't really score it, but just from the eye test, it looked like he pulled out a close one to me, man, and that was good. Good fighting by both, man. But I like how Jamie McDonnell handled the adversity, and he took care of business and kept his title.
Absolutely. Okay, thanks for that, Natty. What you need? Go ahead, finally, boy. You've been over there long, boy. What I'm gonna do? I'll come back your way, when we're going back in the fight. Go ahead. What you need?
Yeah. Range control is everything, I guess, in fights. And like Michael was saying, I noticed that McDonnell, he'd either go completely in or he'd stay completely outside and use the jab to control Kameda. Kameda's a very, very good fighter, though. Very, very good boxer. And, this fight, though, if you don't think about Southpaw for a minute, it reminds me a little bit of Andy Lee versus Peter Quillen. A little bit, in the sense that the mindset, the way how McDonnell, he turned it up as the fight progressed. And he's able to control range, and that's, I think, why he finished so strong. And because he finished so strong, I guess you give him the fight, because he finished the fight strong, and he, turned the fight around after the knockdown. I think the knockdown hurt Kameda. Some people, when they knock down an opponent, they take their time and they keep on working the body. They keep on going back up from the body to the head. I think he got a little bit head happy. He was trying to go for the knockout kind of thing. And I think that just kind of worked. He kind of like Shane Mosley. It worked adversely towards him. When Shane Mosley he hurt Floyd Mayweather, the same kind of thing. So sometimes it doesn't pay to knock somebody down, but other times it does. I think Peter Quillen, it hurt him too. So you have to take your time. You have to pace yourself. And you have to take your time, break down your opponent. I think Kameda could have still gotten on the inside, because there were many times when in that transition from the outside to the inside, after the jab was thrown, Kameda started moving backwards instead and letting McDonnell fall into him, So I think Kameda, after that knockdown, his mindset changed. And I think that kind of messed him up in the fight. So sometimes I think I was watching videos from David Beats. I was watching Beats and Rhymes video, and he made that same statement. Sometimes when you get an early success, sometimes it gets you all riled up, and you can actually lose energy in a fight if you don't stay calm, cool, composed, and keep on working. So I think some of these boxers, they get kind of carried away with a knockdown, and they never get to really follow through. They think they could take this guy out. I mean, Kameda's not a knockout artist, but still, So that's just my take on things.
Okay, then thanks for that, man. And come back your way. I won't let you wait that long because I've been going around the way. Assad, unmute yourself. You see the fight? Toki Kameda versus James McDonald?
The stream I was watching actually didn't show it. It showed the Mayweather fight, and again, I wasn't about to rewatch that. So I'm watching it right now. I'm in round 4. I mean, Kameda's got a nasty right hook. But no, it's actually my first time actually watching him fight, to be honest with you. I heard his older brother, but him himself, first time actually seeing him fight. I don't think Jimmy McDonnell was doing that bad. I mean, the first half of the fight, I know who's winning, but it wasn't like he was dominating the first half to me so far. That and his tail reminds me of the tail that Lucas Matisse used to have, that little tail in the back of his head. But, yes, he's a good fighter. But he definitely does make some mistakes.
Yeah. When you got your stream, and they were showing the HBO, what they did, I think that was for the Kirkland thing. I think the stream, what they were doing, they were showing that, and they would, because I think the undercard, the stream, but it doesn't matter.
I was watching one of the when I stream fights, I go to firstrow sports.eu. So a lot of the stuff I end up seeing is either European, a lot of you guys is British broadcasters, and sometimes, but whatever, this stream was just showing the Mayweather versus Manny Pacquiao, and I don't think that has replay value to me, so I didn't watch it.
Okay, no problem. All right then, meet yourself then. All right, we go back to what you need. So we're gonna go on to the main event of the show in the PVO show in Texas. So we go what you need. Go ahead, man. Ricky Burns versus Omar Figueroa. Go ahead, bro.
Well, first of all, I have to eat some crow because I said Ricky Burns would win. I was basing it off of his experience, of course, but definitely Figueroa won that fight. I'm not going to complain about the refereeing. I'm not going to complain about, what was going on. Figueroa was the more active guy. He fought his fight, got on the inside of Burns. Burns couldn't really get him at range. Burns was putting those nice hammer shots over the top of Figueroa, but Figueroa kept on rolling it, just rolling those shots. So really, Figueroa is the guy that was doing most of the work. He was the busy guy in there. He wasn't really landing what I would say are hard, hurtful shots per se, but he was the busier guy, so he won the fight. Clearly, he won the fight. Now, of course, the referee. I don't want to talk about the referee.
No. You talk about the referee. Talk about the referee, because you know what? You better get because everyone's gonna go in. I'm gonna go in. Talk about the referee.
Well, obviously the referee was openly and blatantly biased towards Omar Figueroa, and Ricky Burns could not do work on the inside. He couldn't push He couldn't put his weight on Figueroa. Everything was just. It was obviously, you could see. I mean, it was blatant that Omar Figueroa had the ref on his side. I mean, that was as obvious as it could be. I mean, he had home court advantage. Ricky Burns knew what he was getting into. The ref was trying to penalize him. I think did he penalize him a point? I can't remember.
2 points. Lawrence Cole. Go ahead.
2. There you go. So I mean, Lawrence Cole has done this before with other fights. He's done this before. I don't know. Seriously, they were favoring everything so that Burns could not really get an advantage over Figueroa. I mean, and it was ridiculous. It was blatant, but you know, Ricky Burns knew what he was getting into. He knew this was going to happen, and he fought his fight. You know, but again, Figueroa's more active. I think the ref took a lot of energy out of Burns, messing with him while he's throwing shots and all of that. You know, he was totally messing with Burns in this fight, and you know, Burns was game though. He was game. I thought Burns was actually going to punch him.
The referee?
I thought Burns was going. Yeah, why not? Swing a shot wide. You know, you loop your shot and clip the ref. You know what I mean? You didn't mean to clip him, but he was in the middle of the action. If he's holding your hand, what are you supposed to do? You know.
So what you
all I'm saying is.
No, I'm saying like so. From that, you still gave Figueroa the fight from that.
Well, I have to because he was the guy that landed most of his shots. The ref interrupted the fight so much and made it so adverse towards Burns. I mean, Figueroa's the guy who's more active because it's his fight. He's allowed to fight his fight, and Burns is not allowed to fight at all. You know, Burns has to fight straight up. He can't bend his head in. He can't, you know, he can't clench. He was clenching. It wasn't hugging. You know, it wasn't holding, it was clenching, and that's allowed in boxing. He was infighting, that's part of infighting, you know, and the ref was just harassing Burns straight through. I mean, come on, man. It was blatant.
Don't you think that the referee had an impact on
Absolutely.
Burns not
Absolutely.
being... But let me finish real quick. Don't you think he had an impact on maybe Figueroa being able to be more active than Burns because Burns wasn't allowed to fight his fight? And the referee, Lawrence Cole, has a reputation of doing this. He's made very dubious calls in the past. But a lot of things that were let go that Figueroa was doing, like leading with his head, sticking his head. When someone sticks their head right in your face and in your chest and in your neck, the only course of action you have is to grab. And what about the rabbit punching as well that Figueroa wasn't known for? What the referee did, and I hate to say this because it's not Figueroa's fault, but it takes away from Figueroa's victory, even though it's not his fault, because he did not allow Burns to fight his fight, number one, and number two, he was only warning one fighter, because that fight could have been looked to me when in the first half before the referee started stepping in and grabbing Burns and pulling his arm and getting physical, that's uncalled for. So before the referee started with his antics, that fight was very close and competitive. But as you said, because the referee got so involved, mentally it was messing with Burns, physically it was messing with Burns because he kept grabbing him and touching him. And Burns had no recourse because then he couldn't even defend himself from the leading with the head, from the rabbit punches, because he wasn't allowed to even hold. So now Burns is sitting there saying to himself, what am I going to do? I'm going to get another point taken away. So the deck was definitely stacked against Burns. So it was horrible. It was horrible. I think the referee played a major factor in that fight, and he should not have been able to do that. He should not have played that factor.
What I would say is that referee needs to be disciplined as far as I'm concerned. They need to review that fight. I hope Burns and they appeal something. But in terms of the fight itself, while he's in the fight, he gotta do what he gotta do. So Burns was, doing what he could do. I think he was game. I still have to give the fight to Figueroa, whether I like it or not. Of course, the referee was involved.
It was a very winnable fight, though. It was a very winnable fight for Burns, and he looked.
I don't complain over spilled milk. I picked Ricky Burns to win.
Yeah.
I'm just saying. This is just me. I knew this is hostile territory. You're talking about Texas. You're talking about dubious scorecards. You're talking about dubious refereeing. You know what I mean? This is just what you're going into. And, unless they negotiated for this stuff in advance, they needed to jostle and deal with all of this in advance, the business in advance. This is what he was going into. I think he knew what he was going into. And the only thing they can do now after the fact is appeal for this referee And just like how they did with this, the lady who did the scorecard with where Canelo got a draw or something.
DJ Ross, yeah.
Right. They need to do the same. They need to make a submit
yeah.
Yeah, but Lawrence
appeal
Cole
for this guy not to referee
his father's a
anymore.
judge.
That's what they need to do.
His father's a judge in Texas. Lawrence Cole's connected. He's got a history. There's a big story behind Lawrence Cole in Texas.
Yeah,
That's why he's able to do it.
He's that commissioner in Texas, isn't it? So.
No, can I interject here? The problem is.
Hey, wait a minute, Michael. Let me just burn. Hey, Joe Bead, bro. I don't know how much you got left to burn, but let me let what you need finish. Michael, you're next. Then Joe Bead, you're after. Go ahead, Mike. Go ahead. What you need. Finish up your point.
I'll stop right there so you gentlemen can continue, because as far as I'm concerned, it is a loss, but I don't want to go too much, but it is a loss. But as I said before, obviously, I'm not going to cry about it, but I hope somebody would take action on it. If somebody takes action on this, then it's worth the while. If we're just complaining about it and doing nothing about it, then he'll just do it again. And he's done it before.
Well, he's connected, so he's going to do it again. He's got political ties in the state.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Thanks for that. What you need? That was some good, man. It's good to be back and forwards. Go ahead, Michael. What you need? Nice and loud for the peoples.
The problem is you're talking about there needs to be some action done. There needs to be some action done. Here's the issue. There has been action done against Lawrence Cole in the past. The Marquez fight in Texas in 2006. I can't remember the guy's name. He's from the Philippines. When he showed clear favoritism towards Marquez. Told Marquez when he was cut that he was ahead in the scorecards. He was suspended then. He was suspended. State of Texas suspended him. He went overseas. He waited out the suspension because the following year in 2007 he refereed a Michael Kessler bout against Andrade. Came back and they allowed him to referee again. And you mentioned Dickie Cole. Well, guess what? Dickie Cole is out of the picture now. He's no longer the head of the commission in Texas. Yet he still gets opportunities. I don't understand why. Whose butt is he kissing? Who is he paying off?
Got political ties.
He continues to get opportunity after opportunity to referee these kind of bouts. Now to the fight. Figueroa, I agree with what you need. He won the fight. He was the stronger guy. He was the more active guy. But you knew beforehand that he was going to win a decision. In part because of who the referee was, who let Figueroa. It was the problem was the inconsistency, the favoritism towards Burns, and he would let Burns do certain things during certain points of the bout, but at other points of the bout he wouldn't let Burns do it. The constant. What was the deal with him when it was getting inside and he kept knocking Burns' hands away? Has he ever heard of the notion of let the fighters decide, let their hands are free, let them fight out through the clinch, let them fight out when they're inside? So again, you no offense, what you need, you say that he should be reprimanded. He's been reprimanded before, and he keeps getting back. He keeps getting these assignments that he doesn't deserve. So it's not going to work. It will not.
Well, if he's been reprimanded before, that's a case to get him out of the business completely.
Hashtag ban Lawrence Cole. Hashtag get him out of boxing.
Yeah, that's right.
You can't do that. Too much sanction, too much state commissions across America. You can't do that. You can't ban him. There's no.
There's
no uniform train of thought in boxing that can.
Yeah, I was just using that just to say it beats, but because like I said before, when he was banned previously, he just went overseas. He just went to other states to referee.
Well, they need to ban him from the state of Texas. Start with that, and we'll move on.
Will never happen. Never happen.
Let Michael finish his point, and then we just move on to Joe.
Will never happen. He is too connected first through his father for him to ever be banned from Texas. It will not happen. He will be suspended. He may be suspended again. Well, he will find his way back. He's too politically connected. And even if he is suspended again, he's going to go somewhere and referee again and continue to be a horrible referee. We're stuck with him, sadly.
Go ahead, Michael. You burned? Or you burn out? Or
Go on. I mean, the fight itself.
Just a quick reply. Maybe we could get him out of major fights at least. We don't need to see him on TV. He can go do something somewhere, but once the fans see him on TV, they need to boo him or something, or submit letters or something. What's this guy doing here? You know?
Go ahead, Michael.
Y'all can proceed. I'll finish venting.
let me say something real quickly. That referee needed, like, one of you, I think is what you need. You need to get punched. Yeah, he needs to get punched, bro. You know what was bothering me? Like the corner. Why in the corner say anything to this dude? Like I couldn't believe it. Like I can't. Like I've seen that before. You know, I've seen it in the women's fight where a referee who grabs a fighter's hand. When he's grabbing a fighter's hand, that means on that side of the fight is susceptible for a hook. How are you crazy? Like you can get a fighter hurt, man. And Ricky Burns was fighting the referee. Plus, he's fighting the fighter inside the ring with Figueroa coming in with his head. For me, Burns was. For me, Burns won the fight. Burns was winning the fight. I thought Burns was completely shot. But you know what? But Ricky Figueroa, yeah, like for me, that style of coming in with his head and throwing, that's how Figueroa is. Figueroa, even though I like Figueroa, but that performance, Ricky Burns should have won that fight. And I felt like I actually felt he won that fight to me. I understand what you need, but you know, we see it subjectively. But to me, the referee and the way Figueroa was fighting, I thought Figueroa, that fight was much closer. That fight, but I think like coming into last round, I think Omar Figueroa pulled it out. There's a big round Omar Figueroa got, and I think he got that round. But to me, I think Burns, you could even call it a draw, or Burns won the fight. But to me, like the referee taking the points out killed Burns. He was tired trying to fight the referee, Lawrence Cole, anything. And I tell you what, man, if Ricky Burns would have punched the referee, I don't think he was alright. I saw the cornerman argue with him, the referee, Lawrence Cole. But you know what? Everyone, you know, in boxing, everyone's respectful. I mean, we can complain and stuff like that, but I think everyone.
It could be an accidental hit on the referee.
No. Nah, you believe? Let's wipe him out. Wipe him out. No accident. Let's wipe him out. Ricky Burns should be. But what I'm saying,
joking.
No, I understand. But what I'm saying to you is, in my opinion, you know, that was one of the worst things I've ever seen in boxing. If anyone was to watch boxing, they were talking about advertising for boxing. Don't watch that fight there. Do not watch that. It was terrible refereeing. What they did to Ricky Burns was terrible. And you know what? Ricky Burns has got another leg of life. But that's my little thing. Joe B, go ahead, man. I know you got more to burn on it. Go ahead.
Well, you know, Michael mentioned that Cole was suspended, but you know what he did was so egregious that, you know, if it was another referee, he probably would have been suspended for life, not just for a year. But his father's connected, the family's connected. They have a lot of business dealings. They have a lot of political connections in the state. So, you know, he got a slap on the wrist for something that was so egregious that it warranted possibly a suspension for life. You're not supposed to tell a fighter what the scorecards are. That's like shaving points in basketball. You know, that's so disgraceful. I can't even go on to say how disgraceful it is. But, you know, I think that Ricky Burns had a very good chance to win that fight. He looked like he was starting to get in control, you know, from the beginning to the middle rounds. And, you know, then because I think Figueroa was getting frustrated, then he just started to make it a mauling type fight because he knew he was getting outboxed and he was getting outpunched. He was being beaten to the punch. You know, Ricky Burns was lulling him to sleep with that jab, and then he was throwing a very awkward overhand right that Figueroa just couldn't gauge. He just couldn't gauge the timing on it. Didn't know how to you know, see it coming and couldn't prepare himself for that. He couldn't get out of the way of it. You know, Ricky Burns was landing that right hand early in the fight at will. So what did Figueroa do? Jumped in there with his head, grabbed, tried to make it a wrestling match, and Burns' only course of action at that point was to contain Figueroa to try to prevent himself from being headbutted, from being injured. You know, he was fighting very recklessly. With all due respect to Figueroa, a very fan-friendly guy. He's a nice guy, but he's just not a technical wizard. There's a lot of things that are left to be desired with the way he fights. He's not going to have a long career leaning in with his head like that, taking the shots that he takes, going face first into punches. And Ricky Burns fought a very, very cerebral fight when that fight started till about the fifth or sixth round. And that's when Figueroa said, you know what, this guy is beating me. He's controlling this fight. What do I got to do? I got to go for what I know, and I got to turn this into a dogfight, back alley, you know, horrible type brawl. And it's good to watch from a fan standpoint. Favorite fans are going crazy. Obviously, he's in Texas. But if that fight's in any other arena, Figueroa's the one that's going to get points taken away, not Burns. Not burnt. So I thought it was just a horrible refereeing job. And I didn't think Burns was going to win this fight going in. But, you know, I saw flashes of the old Ricky Burns in this fight. He really bit down hard and went into this fight like he had a great game plan. He trained his ass off. He was in shape. And, you know, with all the other things going on, with Lawrence Cole taking points away, with Lawrence Cole manhandling Ricky Burns, putting his hands on Ricky Burns, pulling his arm and yanking it down like that, I mean, it's just horrible. You know, and Ricky Burns was trying to fight, you know, on the inside. He was trying to fight on the inside. He had one arm free, and then Figueroa would wrap up, you know, his right arm, and Ricky Burns would try to fend him off with the left. And Lawrence Cole wouldn't even let him do that. He wouldn't even let him do that. So it was a freaking disgrace. I don't know what else to say. I was disgusted with Lawrence Cole. But again, like anything else, you got nepotism, you got politics, and this is why Lawrence Cole is allowed to exist in boxing.
Yeah, boy, it was shady for real, man. Joe beat nice one, Joe.
How did he even get that fight?
It's just the way he is.
All the fights in Texas. All the big fights in Texas he gets.
Yeah.
He gets all the big fights in Texas.
Yes, he does.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. All right, let me move on to boxing, Beats. Go ahead, everyone mute himself. Go ahead, Beats. Burn, man.
Yeah, well, it's just how it goes. That's the occupational hazard of traveling away from home. Boxing is war. I ain't talking about just punching each other. Like before you go into war, you got to survey the land that you're going to invade and make sure you're prepared. And they weren't prepared. You know that you have to fight two men in there. And look, man, what can I say? Figueroa has the worst left hand I've seen in the game. No one's taught him how to throw a left hand. You know, his guard is absolutely terrible. That's why he's got to resort to the mauling, cuffing around the back of the head, rabbit punches. His footwork is terrible. He's one of the worst fighters I've ever seen to claim that they've been a world champion. One of the worst. I don't know what's happened to Ricky Burns' strength conditioning. He had a lean, strong physique while he was champion. And his belly ain't as big as it was the last time. I don't know what's happened to his physique. I don't know what's happened there, man. You know what I mean? The man's eating too much haggis or something in Scotland, or whatever I mean. I don't know what's happening. And as for the fight, look, man, moral victory for Ricky Burns. I wasn't impressed with Figueroa's fighting personally. I saw Burns lighting him up, man. You know. But moral victory for Ricky Burns. Figueroa, I don't know. I think we're just waiting for someone just to deconstruct him and put him to one side. You know, I think that's what we're waiting for now. And yeah. They should have a rematch. Yeah,
neutral. Yeah, I don't think Figueroa will be up for it. But I think if they have a rematch anywhere else, man, I got Burns winning that fight, man. Actually, I bet money on Burns, and I bet money on McDonnell as well. But I bet it in a kind of bunch. I didn't get my money, so because I bet on Kirkland, but I'm gonna talk about that in a bit, man. Not Kirkland done me in, but yeah, thanks for that, Beats. Hassan, unmute yourself, man. You see the Burns and the Figueroa fight? Hassan?
No, man, I missed it, and I did not want to miss that fight. I ended up missing it, man.
Oh man, all right, then, don't worry about it.
Crazy week for me, man.
Okay, then. All right, let me go back to Beats. Beats, you see the Sturm fight and the Chudinov fight?
No.
Anyone else see that fight?
No.
Okay, all right, and I saw that fight. All right, let me go into it. It was a good fight. So he captured the interim WBA super middleweight championship. His brother fought Chris Eubank at middleweight. He's a banger as well. That fight was very close, very close. But Sturm seemed like he started to fade near the end of the rounds and he pulled the bank. You know what? I'd like someone like George Groves. I know George Groves is eyeing him. I think he's eyeing thingy. What's his name? Badu Jack and them guys. He should go straight for that Russian dude. Straight away for that Russian dude. Like, I like Burns taking that interim WBA. The only thing is Andre Ward will be waiting for him. So that's the only thing. But like that's the only thing. I mean, actually, maybe you should just go straight for Badu Jack actually. But yeah, I like that. That was a good fight. By the way, you guys check it out. I'll give you links for you guys to check it out later on. All right, we're gonna move on to the main event. Hassan, let me go straight to you because you ain't burned for a bit, yeah. All right, so the main event. Kirkland versus Canelo?
I actually, surprisingly, I thought Kirkland did pretty good. I saw Kirkland hit Canelo with a couple shots. I thought Canelo took some shots he should not have taken many different times. Canelo just was the younger guy. He had more power, and it definitely showed. I think if Kirkland actually would have had a good chin, I think the fight would have got a lot more interesting when we got past, Canelo's, point of exhaustion, which is always round 7. He's like a 7-round fighter. So when you get in round 7 and beyond, the fight gets really, really good when you get to see Canelo fight. So I think Kirkland, not saying he may not have won, but the fights would have been a lot closer if he could have made it out until at least round 6 or 7. I think the fight would have got really good. But I thought Canelo won. Younger, faster, stronger. You win.
Cool. All right. Thanks for that. Boxing beats.
Okay. Let me read something out to you guys. This is it. I'm done with this. If she was here, if she wasn't here. Number 1, I never said if I was in the corner he would beat Canelo. 2, if I was training him, I would never take a fight with Canelo unless we had 4 fights in the last 6 months or so. 3, there is nothing that happened between James and I. He has left 4 times and I took him back every time. 4, no, it's not about the money. I am and have been his co-manager and trainer. For Kirkland's manager for over 10 years. I get paid either way. Yes, I have a check in my pocket. I get the highest. Our managers. I pulled Miller in. 5, if buts, candies, cherries, and nuts, we'd all have a Merry Christmas, but they're not. 6, it's 100% proven that when Pops and I train James, he is different. Several people have said I talk too much shit. I think I'm hard because I cuss too much. I don't know how to train, but one way, on and on. In fact, I don't act hard, I am hard. Myself to myself, I never disrespect people from a child to an adult. But if you fuck with me or my kids, I will fuck you up. I'm just an easygoing person and I'm soft as any other woman or mother. As for cussing when it comes to boxing, you are in pro boxing getting paid to fight. I will cuss your ass, kick your ass, beat your ass with a rope. I need to get to that when I'm ready. Pop slap the fuck out of me.
I saw you need to mute yourself though, because it's getting feedback. Go ahead, man. Go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's alright.
Fuck out and told me to shut up. I said yes, sir. If he said run 10 miles, I said yes, sir. My mama told me to move. I said yes, ma'am. If my daddy said fight that motherfucker, I didn't care if the boy was older, I'd fight him. My manager said I don't care if you only get 1 fight and you weigh 152 pounds. That women eight fighters. So she's pretty mad. Boxing ain't for pussyfooting and being nice. It's for killing. It ain't no sport. It's a fight. I will change. I will only change for good. It's Mother's Day. And for the last 26 years, I didn't have a mother to say Happy Mother's Day to. You wouldn't see what she did.
She's like she's bringing her emotion into it, to be honest with you. I wouldn't want her as a trainer either. Like, the way that she's talking, like, I understand you got to be cultural and whatnot, but I wouldn't want her as a trainer either with that. Her mentality, I think, is just not right for boxing when it comes to the children thing and bringing all this other stuff into it. She shouldn't be thinking about that when she's training a fighter.
Can I intervene with what you just said there?
Yeah.
Have you ever been in a boxing gym, sparring or anything?
Have I been in boxing sparring? No, I'm not going to lie. No, I haven't.
All right. You might want to rethink that, yeah? You might want to rethink
about her, about children thing?
Let me finish. Not all boxing environments, but some boxing environments, it's you get bullied. They will bully you, and if you can't handle it, you need to kick rocks and get out the door.
Bernard Hopkins is actually, people don't know this about Bernard Hopkins, but he's a bully in the gym. He loves to fuck with the young fighters, man. And if you don't stand up to him, he'll keep doing it.
Right. Yeah, this is not no sanitized environment. You can get your head knocked off in there, right? So if you're gonna go in a boxing gym and start playing about, and if they see you ain't serious, they're gonna bully you and they're gonna bully you and make you leave on your own will. That's what they're gonna do. So she's
taking him and tied to the corner with him, or
you know what the issue is? I think honestly, I'm gonna tell you my opinion, and obviously it's just my opinion. I think that Kirkland was probably starting to get a little too frustrated and angry that she was getting a lot of the credit for him when he won big fights with her in the corner,
Yeah.
And maybe he resented that a little bit. Maybe he resented that. Maybe he said to himself, well, it's not about Ann, it's about me. I'm going to show these people I can win big fights without Ann. And that's what I really think it is. I don't think it's money. I don't think it's her pushing him. I don't think it's anything of that. I just think it's an ego thing.
But you know what? He's not the brightest person because look at the percentage here. So Kirk's purse was 1 million and what's it 1? Look at that. You can see it. There's a 1 million point 3. Is it 1.3 million? Yeah, I think that's how he got. And I think Canelo got 3.5 million. I mean, and she takes a slice of that. 50 takes a slice. Everyone's he's not the brightest guy. Everyone's like she's already getting percentage because he's still his manager.
The taxes come out too. He probably got 400,000.
I mean, go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry. I just said then the taxes come out and he probably got 400,000.
Yeah, exactly. He's not the brightest dude. Like I mean, you know, she's already managed you, but like you said, you know, I hear what Assad's saying. You know, he just probably had enough of it, man. You know that woman, hey, she can cuss you out, but hey, I think they have a kind of, you know, like a turbulent relationship. But you know, I don't know.
My thing is that like it's not the culture about being bullied or not being bullied. I mean, that's just comes from if you're raised in the hood, it's the same type of thing. So it's not the issue I have a problem with. The problem is that is he treating him like a man, or is he treating him like a boy?
It's got nothing to do with Van Wolf.
You think that's not it? Because I mean, if he's got a problem, I mean, I'm not gonna let any woman treat him like a boy.
She treats him like a man because if you're dealing with a little boy, you ain't gonna push a little boy that hard. She pushes him hard, like she treats him like a man.
Yeah, it's got nothing to do with Van Wolf, right? That if he is taking the time out himself, he's had fights without Van Wolf, but he still has had indisciplined moments. He's had it from when he was a child, growing up. This is his life. This is his life.
He may not have won the fight, but I bet you it would have went maybe 6 or 7 or 8 rounds if she was in the corner.
I'm agree with that. He's a lot better with Ann Wolf in my opinion. A lot better.
You know what? You know, let me get everyone burned because Assad's talk.
Since I went in first, let me get my. To be in all truth, he could have had Ann Wolf in there, and we have to come to the realization that we've been blinded by this guy's excitement that he's provided us in fights, right? He hasn't. He's had no elite wins. Angulo was terrible. I knew Angulo was terrible going into the fight, and he threw the fight away. To be honest with you, right? Kirkland has no defense. He's fighting a power puncher, and he's walking straight in to uppercuts at elite level. You know, the bottom line is, like the only way he could look. Kirkland is the type of guy with his style. If he'd have to be really disciplined, like training, fighting regular, and he'd probably have a 2-year spurt where he might win a championship. But after that, someone's going to deconstruct him, and he's going to get beaten up because he's just not. He's not interested in defending himself. He's not. He's got no interest. He's so preoccupied about damaging you and not protecting you. It's ridiculous. Like I saw him do. There was about 3 or 4 times. He just walked straight onto straight right from. I said, "Are you crazy?" And he walked right onto uppercuts, and he kept doing it. He's not like he done it and it registered. Yo, stop walking onto the punches. He just kept doing it. And the knockout, man, the knockout was just like, whoa. His arms went limp, his body went down, and look, he's not getting no younger. The older you get and you fight like that, man, it's trauma on your psyche, on your body, and they're going to have to be careful how they match him if he continues fighting. That's all I can say. And Canelo looked outstanding. That's Canelo's best win, as far as I'm concerned. He looked good, man. Counter punch, hard punch. See, that's the thing, yeah? When Canelo fights guys like Angulo and Kirkland, he's smart. What he does, he telegraphs, because he knows he can telegraph his shots. He can get away. Like Angulo, he telegraphed Angulo with some shit. Like, Angulo's head's probably still hurting now from some of them shots that he got hit with, man. And, that's what he does, you know. He says, well, if you're going to come and walk directly onto that, I'm just going to, line you up. And, like, man, it was devastating, man. Walking onto Canelo's shots is not the one. You saw how Floyd and Lara boxed him, and they're elite fighters, you know. They're elite boxers. You saw how he boxed him. How are you just going to walk into his shots like that? But that's how he boxes. That's how he boxes. And I don't want to repeat myself. they're gonna have to be very careful how they match him. And Wolf, you can't blame it on Wolf. You can't blame it on Wolf. Yeah, he done well with Wolf. Wolf, he has to attribute a lot of his success to Wolf driving him on. A lot of boxers, but believe it or not, you might look at a lot of boxers as self-made people, but a lot of times it's their trainers who have driven them to the level they've got. That's what you're seeing. Someone who's been driven by their trainers. A lot of these boxers are just like us. They have no self-belief. Wolf done a good job with the guy. Really good job.
Go ahead, Beats.
But right now, he's getting older. He wants to do it himself, and he'll have to see how it pans out. So I've burnt enough on that. I've burnt enough.
Okay, man. Yeah, that's pretty good, man. Go ahead, Joe Habib.
Well, going back to what I said before, fighters are supposed to do certain things, but they don't always do what they're supposed to do. Sometimes they fight the wrong fight when they could do things and fight the fight that they're supposed to fight. Canelo fought the fight that he was supposed to fight last night. Was I surprised? No. I mean, it wasn't a situation where you would think Canelo was going to lose this fight, and I thought Canelo was going to stop him. I thought maybe Kirkland may have lasted maybe 5 or 6 rounds. So in that regard, the way he blew him out of there in 3 rounds, I was a little bit impressed with that. But, going back to what Beats had said about Canelo, I think if you allow him to set his feet and you don't force him to constantly move and shuffle his feet and if you take him out of position, when he's able to set his feet, he can really generate a lot of power. And he's also a very good combination puncher, and he's crafty. Like Beats, to piggyback off what Beats said, he'll set traps. He'll show you the right hand just so he can set the left hook. So he'll give you something to think about and get you fixated on what he's doing, and then that's just basically the trap, because then he'll come back with something else. So he's very crafty. His biggest weakness is his foot speed. He doesn't have great foot speed. Very quick hands. He's a very accurate puncher. Very, very good technical fighter when it comes to throwing punches correctly and setting shots up and putting shots together. But again, if you're a guy who's quick on your feet and you constantly move from side to side, or you constantly step back and slide away from him, and you force him to come forward and not, and he's not able to set his feet quick enough, then you're going to constantly keep him off guard, and he's not really going to be able to generate that power, and he's not going to be able to get in that range where he can put those accurate shots together. Obviously there's a handful of guys that can take him out of that comfort zone. It would be interesting to see if Triple G is one of those guys, because we haven't really seen Triple G use a lot of movement in his fights. So if the fight kind of turns out to be a shootout, obviously you'd favor Triple G because you would assume he's the bigger hitter. But Canelo's not a soft hitter either. I mean, could Canelo get Triple G's attention? That's an interesting fight. It's a very interesting fight. You'd have to favor Triple G, as I said. But, Canelo could do some good things in that fight, too. He could have some moments in that fight. But, styles make fights, and this fight was the perfect style for Canelo. And there's a lot of fighters in this junior middleweight division that fit right into Canelo's style, and he can be successful in this division for a long time.
I agree with you. You know what I saw in that fight? I saw incompetence in the corner. Alright, I'll give you an example, right? So coming out into, I think it's going into the 3rd round, like he's in the corner, and the corner, instead of putting water on his head to revive him, he's there in the corner saying breathe, right? He's got blood in his mouth, and then they're trying to tell him to breathe with blood in the mouth, yeah. And I was like, what are you telling him to breathe for? Why didn't they put water in his mouth? And it's like, no, they told him to spit into the bucket. They told him to spit, but they ain't put no water in his mouth to spit. And the guy's got blood in his mouth, so you know how the blood, it coagulates, it sticks into the neck. So it's hard breathing. That's like, looking at the incompetence in the corner made me sick. And it's like, to see him, he actually could take a shot. So if he had the right people in the corner, it would have probably went on the way. I think Kirkland still would have won the fight. I'm not gonna take away from what Kirkland did. Not Kirkland, Canelo. I think Canelo would have still won the fight. I bet on Kirkland and I was wrong. Fair enough. But I'm telling you, the incompetence in the corner was ridiculous. Check it out, fight fans. Yeah, he's in the corner. He's got blood in his mouth, and the corner asks him to spit, but yet they haven't put no water in his mouth. They've got a towel on his head. There's no water in his head. They're so concerned with giving him instructions, and he's trying to take. And there's 2 people talking to him at the same time. And you see, the thing is, yeah, I put the results, how much he was taking. You see, the thing is, yeah, it reminds me of Gerald McLennan when he fought Nigel Benn, and he didn't want to bring over Manuel Sturm because he wanted to be cheap. Now, this is the thing I'm coming into. Kirkland, at some reason, I think he want to be cheap. I don't know. I feel like 50 Cent's everyone's taking his money. I think at some point he thought, you know what, I don't need, but she's taking a cut of his money anyway. You know, you could have just took Wolf in there. You'd have been protected in the corner. You'd have one instructions. It was abysmal. He was in shape, but he was in fighting shape. And then in the corner, they never done stuff to resuscitate him. So that's my take, man.
Can I jump in real quick, DJ, just to piggyback off what you said? Because you said something extremely intelligent, and I just want to go in depth about, you know, why it's so important what you said. Because obviously, when you're bleeding, you're losing a lot of nutrients. You're losing, you're losing water too, because there's a lot of water in your blood. So you get dehydrated, and you have to be rehydrated when you're losing all of that fluid in your body. And that's why the water, giving him water and pouring water on him, it's so vital to rehydrate the guy, because he was getting dehydrated in that.
Absolutely, man. It was terrible. It was incompetence, and then that led, coming out there. You can see he was barely confident coming out there. But then the knockout happened. The knockout was horrible. That's one of the most devastating knockouts I've seen. It completely sapped him. The only thing is, if you look at that knockout, he was actually looking to get back up and fight though. You know what he said in the interview? I wanted to get people were laughing at, but he actually tried to get up, but the doctors pushed him back down. He got down first. He was laying there just dead out, but he actually tried to get back up, and they pushed him back down. And because they pushed him back down, looked worse. I'm glad Canelo came over to check how it was, but that knockout was devastating. It was horrible. But you know what? He had better defense with Wolf, by the way. But anyway, I've burned enough. Michael from Pound Boxing Report. Go ahead, Michael.
When you look at a guy in Kirkland who's so irresponsible defensively, who doesn't have the greatest chin in the world, who hasn't fought in a year and a half, who's so one-dimensional as a fighter for the most part, and without Wolf, you knew he was in trouble against a Canelo Alvarez, who, while he hasn't fought in 10 months, he's so much more diverse in his attack. He does a lot of subtle things. He's a multi-dimensional fighter. While he doesn't move his feet, he does a very good job of moving his head, of setting shots up, not just with throwing the right hand out there to throw the left foot, but also he uses his body. He'll use a shoulder here and there. He feints very well to land the shot. So in looking at the fight, when I talked about it Thursday, I knew Kirkland had no chance. I knew he was going to get knocked out. And the fight went pretty much as what I thought. They was talking about how Kirkland hurt Canelo early on. I didn't think Canelo was hurt that bad. Was he stunned? Yes, but he wasn't hurt that bad. And you knew once Canelo, who was calm and cool throughout the chaos, all he just did was set back while Kirkland was being wild, just picked his shots here and there on the inside, landed a little uppercut here and there, went to Kirkland's body with major damage on the inside, landed a right hand there. And Kirkland, because he's so wild, because he's so open, because he has a kill or be killed mentality, you knew that he was eventually going to be caught and hurt. And Canelo, once he gets a guy hurt, he does a terrific job of finishing him off in the right hand in the third round. First the uppercut initially in the third round and knocked him down for the second time. And then he got up, and then the right hand, you knew it was over. Personally, I look at Kirkland, I think he maybe should retire, because in 3 rounds he took a sustained beating. The way he went down in that third round, that second knockdown, it was devastating. His body went limp, and when you take that kind of punishment, and then when you get knocked down like that and your body goes limp, that's a telltale sign to me that maybe you should think about retiring. So that's my assessment of it. A good performance by Canelo. He was calm, he was cool against a guy who was limited in his attack, who was open to be hit all night long. And I would like to see Canelo fight a Triple G or fight Kirkland. Overall, a very good performance by Canelo. I was impressed.
Cool, man. Thanks for that, Michael. Go ahead, what you need. I'll mute yourself, yeah? Go ahead.
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
All right. Well, I already spoke about this in Pound for Pound Boxing Report, so Michael knows about what I thought would happen. This was a mismatch fight. You're talking about an elite boxer versus a brawler. That's what happens. You know, no surprise. Basically, Kirkland tried to come out fast, jump on Canelo. I think he caught him with a left hook or something like that. Canelo just covered up, like Floyd does, the same shell up. He shelled up. Kirkland went crazy, but he was basically hitting arms. When he was done, Canelo came out the shell, hit him a straight right to the pit. Because you see, a boxer knows when you expend energy to take the extra energy you're trying to get to regain your composure out of you. So that's what you started to see Canelo do. Kirkland was trying to be in his face all the time. And what Kirkland keeps on doing is reaching. He keeps on reaching. So Canelo read him. Oh, okay. Style was a little awkward for Canelo in the first round. When he realized he was reaching, he hit him a liver shot. And that was all she wrote, pretty much. The fight was over. People didn't know it. The first round, that fight was over. Okay? Now, Kirkland's a tough guy, right? He's a tough guy. But this is boxing. This is not tough man contest. I don't care if Iron Wolf was in his corner. I don't care if some divine creature was in his corner. You go to the body, take your time, and you come up to the head. It took Canelo 3 rounds, but he took his time, made sure he had his defense. You know, Kirkland was throwing those little punches inside to try and get leverage. He was still fighting. Mentally, Kirkland's a very strong guy. But you hit a guy to his liver a number of times, he's going to go down. Okay? That's it. It has nothing to do with mental. This is physiology here. And pretty much that uppercut was because Kirkland keeps on reaching in, so Canelo just moved back and let him have it, you know? Boxing. So basically what you saw, guys, wasn't power, it was boxing. Canelo's a boxer. Kirkland got shots where he didn't see. He didn't see those uppercuts. Get what I'm saying? He didn't see the liver shot coming in. You understand what I'm saying? These are shots that he wasn't bracing for, and the final blow is when Canelo fainted to the body and took him out on top. While Kirkland was trying to left hook him, took him out on top. That's all she wrote, right? As to Kirkland, what will happen to him, his future, he got a good future. He still has a good future, but don't line him up. First time coming out of a long layoff, don't line him up with an elite fighter. You know, they did the same thing to Glen Tapia. They actually matched up Glen Tapia with a tough opponent. An opponent with 1 loss. That loss was by unanimous decision in a title belt shot. So they had Glen Tapia match up with a guy who was a very, very good boxer. Then they had James Kirkland match up with a very superior elite boxer. And you don't expect this to happen? Come on. It's a mismatch. But what I can say is the future for James Kirkland, you know, there's Angulo. There are guys like Angulo out there. That's what you match up James Kirkland with, a guy like that, who doesn't break you down necessarily. He might go headhunting, like Glen Tapia went headhunting on him. You need people like that. You know, Kirkland's got a very, very Ruslan Provatnikov hard head. You have some boxers who have hard heads. You know what I mean? And Kirkland has a hard head. But usually, hard-headed boxers don't have rock-hard abs and rock-hard bodies. And you don't attack their head, you attack their body. That's how you take them out. And then you take them out to the head. So with Kirkland, he could fight a guy like, what's his name? It'll be a reasonable opponent. He's also a tough guy in the division.
So you're talking about K9 Bundridge, right?
No. Bundridge can box. He'll kill Kirkland. I'm talking about he doesn't have a title shot. Just a guy.
One of the cellos?
No. Don't put him in the Charlo, brother.
I'm giving you names.
No. It's not a skilled. It's not a highly skilled fighter. I'll tell you in a minute. But
Ishe Smith? Ishe Smith?
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be a
That
good
you
fight.
talking about?
But
Nah,
Ishe's a boxer, though.
He's not talking about Ishe. Who are you talking about? If you can't think of it, what you need, no one.
I'll find it for you in a minute, but let me just continue.
Yeah.
So with him, though, he has some good matchups up there, but we're talking about like B-level, C-level fighters. He'll do good with those guys.
Mm-hmm.
You know, exciting fights. Because Kirkland gives you an exciting fight, but he needs to have a fighter with a skill level, which, you know, he can actually do his thing in there and have a chance, you know. So guys with the Angulo-like expertise in the junior middleweight division, he could pair up with those guys, you know. As for Canelo, you know, I guess everybody's yelling out for Miguel Cotto, but I would prefer if he fights somebody like Demetrius Andre or even Alvarez Martirosyan, because he's almost cleaned out his division already. And I think that would be a good matchup for him.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Carson Jones. That's the guy I was thinking of. James Kirkland versus Carson Jones. That would be a great matchup. Carson Jones even has a belt, and that would be a great war because Carson Jones likes that kind of stuff. He's tough. You know, he has a belt. That's a good matchup for James Kirkland. And for Canelo, you have Cotto, but Cotto's at middleweight. So he's probably going to chill out with at junior middleweight for 2 more fights maybe. So I'd say Demetrius Andre or Alvarez Martirosyan would be 2 really good fights, and they're both on HBO, I think. So those would be good solid matchups for Canelo. Good challenges.
Okay, cool, man. Well, we've covered everything over this weekend, boy. We've covered all the fights. The only thing left for you guys is this we've got coming up. And you guys can all just jump in, so it won't be like I'm going to go one by one. You guys can all just jump in on this one, right? We've got Triple G versus Willie Monroe. Anyone could just jump in. Just give your 2 cents on that one real quick. Go ahead. Or do you want me to tell you? Go ahead.
Title match. Bullshit title match. Another KO. You know, the guy's got 6 KOs. And, you know, who's he for? Brian Vera. I mean, come on, man. Like, this is crazy. He hasn't even beat. Who's he beating the top 10 Willie Monroe? He's fighting for a middleweight title.
Are you talking about Miguel? Are we talking about Triple G's opponent?
Yeah, we're talking about Triple G going against Willie
Triple
Monroe.
G's fought good opponents. He fought the 2. Daniel Gill was a good opponent, and also Martin Murray was a very good opponent. Martin Murray was ranked like number 5 or something like that, according to most people.
Yo, you
don't know. He's talking about Beats is talking about Willie Monroe.
I'll answer it. I didn't say nothing about.
Oh.
I said Willie Monroe is not qualified.
Oh, okay.
Son, what's up with your mic? You changed your thing. You put on it. You sound like, were you on head speakers or something? What you on? It was clearer before.
I'm in the car. My bad. I'm in the car. I'll be quiet.
Yeah, no, it's alright. You could talk though. But go ahead, Beats. Go ahead. Go ahead, Beats.
Not qualified to fight for a world, and that's in my opinion. He's not qualified. And if you think that he's world class, tell me how he's world class. Tell me how Willie Monroe is a world class middleweight.
His dad was.
That's his dad.
I'm joking. You know I'm joking though, man. Come on, come on. Go ahead, bro. Go ahead.
He's not world class. He's got no power. He hasn't even punched over a top 20 or maybe top 20. I don't know where Vera's rated. You know, like, look. All it is cut price boxing. He gives you a lot of knockouts and a lot of fights. He's very good at what he does. He's very good. Let's not get that twisted. He's good. But at the same time, everybody gets on your case when you mention the level of the opponents for some reason. They get on your case. When there is a valid line of questioning about his opposition for a world champion. How much defenses has he had? How many has he had? And, like, you can't really say he's fought an elite opponent. And that is a fair observation. No one's saying he's fighting bums, but it's a fair observation to say if you had so many world title defenses and no one can say I don't know, there's got to be something wrong there. There's got to be something wrong. and it's got to be due time that either the fans, his management, or some sanctioning bodies say, yo, look, we need to get a unification fight or a decent match for this guy. He hasn't had a decent. There's no match he's had where you said, oh man, I wonder if this is going to be, on the line. He hasn't had no match like that. He hasn't had one match like that.
Daniel Boone beat him. Daniel Boone gave him a good fight, But
He didn't fight Triple G.
No, I'm talking about. I thought you were talking about William Monroe. Are you talking about Triple G now?
Yeah, I was talking about Triple G as a champion.
Like, go ahead.
Let me ask you a question when it comes to Triple G, because out of all the middleweights, who has fought better competition than Triple G? I mean, honestly, the middleweight division, people are not really fighting people. So how can we blame Triple G? Miguel Cotto has fought pretty much nobody. And, I mean, how can you blame Triple G for his opposition when no one wants to fight him and he's fighting people like Martin Murray and Danny Gill?
Not sympathy.
Oh, sorry about that.
Is anything you...
Sorry about that. Go ahead, Beast. Go ahead.
Well, Andy Lee fought Peter Quillen.
But Quillen was willing to fight Andy Lee. Quillen was not willing to fight Triple G. And Andy Lee actually would have fought Triple G.
My point is Andy Lee was world champion. Is world champion. And he fought Peter Quillen.
Who did Andy Lee get his belt from? Matt Korobov, right?
No, but my point is this. You said who has fought better competition, anybody else has fought better competition than Triple G. And I'm telling you, Andy Lee has, or Peter Quillen, anyone you want to pick.
Go ahead, son. You gonna answer that? Son? I guess not.
Yeah, let me
snap, my bad. I had myself on mute, my bad.
Yeah, go ahead, son. Answer.
My bad. I said, I mean, outside of, so yeah, you named Andy Lee, right? But it was Triple G willing to fight Andy Lee? Yes. Was Andy Lee willing to fight Triple G? Yes. What happened? The last match. Well, they probably will end up fighting. But can we blame that on Triple G? Beforehand, Andy Lee wouldn't fight him or something ended up happening? That's not Triple G's fault. It's one thing to duck a fighter. It's another thing when people won't get in the ring with you.
We're not necessarily blaming Triple G. We're just stating what is the obvious. He hasn't fought anyone like a decent top two.
So who's better? Who's better, Andy Lee, Peter Quillen, or Martin Murray?
This is what I'm saying. Hold on, before you jump off. Every time this is mentioned, everybody assumes we're blaming Triple G. We're just saying it hasn't happened. And we have to diagnose the reason. We can't just say, well, there's just no one to fight. We've got to diagnose why he's not getting the test. He's not getting. We have to diagnose that. Can't just ignore it and say, oh, well, it's not his fault. And that's that. That's crazy. It's got to be crazy. You've got to diagnose what's happening.
And I mean diagnosing it. I mean, you're telling me Martin Murray is not a good fighter?
He's not bad.
He's not bad. Does he beat Andy Lee? Yes. Does he beat Peter Quillen? You could debate and say yes to that as well. So
I would say this aside. I would say let's see them fight, because I don't know. I wouldn't say that Martin Murray beats Andy Lee or Peter Quillen. Let's see them fight.
Triple G is good, man. Triple G is good. Triple G, but it's just like, he for his ability and for how he's being touted, we need to see. We need to see something. We need to see something, man. And look, here's the thing. If the middleweight division cannot provide him the test, then he's going to have to take on a super middleweight, surely. Surely he's going to have to take on a super middleweight.
No, I don't think so, because I believe Triple G has the potential to gather the most fans based on his fighting style, where he can sit around long enough and just keep getting fans, especially when he starts fighting in L.A., and he's fighting in those arenas. I'm from L.A. We like knockouts. He can get enough fans. He gets enough Mexican fans. People are going to watch him regardless, to the point where people have to fight him, and they can't avoid him anymore because he makes the most money. And eventually that's going to happen.
Okay, yeah, that's a good point. Michael, you want to say something? Go ahead, Mike.
I took part of a conference call with Triple G and Willie Monroe. To Beat's point, this is basically a showcase bout for Triple G. Willie Monroe, he's a decent fighter, but he should not give Golovkin too much trouble. Golovkin will eventually break him down and stop him. When you look at Triple G, who in his position, eventually they have to step up and fight elite caliber competition. whether it's their weight, a fighter below their division, or a fighter above their division. Um, Even Bernard Hopkins, after he made all those successful title defenses, eventually he fought elite caliber competition. I don't care what division. When you have a long reigning champion like he is, you have to step up and fight the better fighters around in your weight division. And while Triple G, I think he's the best middleweight in the world. I have him on my personal top 10 pound for pound list. He has to step up. Period. Whether it's Ward or Froch at 168, elite fighters at 154 pounds, he has to step up and fight the big guys. Sure, he can gain popularity, but that's only going to take him so far. It will only guard him so much respect. Even his hardcore fans will have to ask the question eventually, when is this guy going to fight the big name? And that's what he has to do. He's gaining a fan base now, but to Beat's point, when are you going to step up and fight somebody? That's the question eventually for Triple G, because he's fought good guys, but he's fought guys it's obvious he's better than. When is he gonna fight someone who is his equal, or maybe his superior? It has to happen eventually because he's clearly established himself as the middleweight champion. At first with Triple G, I was with the old school opinion, let him clean out the division and whatnot. But at this point, if Cotto apparently may not fight him, he could wait for Canelo. Will that fight happen? I don't know, or is that just talk? But again, fight someone elite. You're good enough to beat these guys. Just do it.
Go ahead, Joe Habib.
Well, I get a lot of flack for this too because he's a significant favorite over everyone he fights at middleweight. If you looked at if he was to fight Cotto, if he was to fight Peter Quinlan, if he was to fight anybody at middleweight, he'd be a 4 to 5 to 6 to 1 favorite over everybody. He's just that good. Now we've seen other very good middleweights move up to super middleweight, move up to light heavyweight. We've seen Roy Jones do it. We've seen Bernard Hopkins do it. A lot of guys did it. Nigel Benn did it. Chris Eubanks did it. All fighters have done that. Now the argument against him moving up is, let's clean out the division. Well, let's face facts, guys. These guys just don't want to fight him, and they're not going to fight him. He's going to sit around waiting for that big money fight at middleweight, waiting for Canelo, waiting for Quillen, waiting for Cotto, and it's just not going to happen. De La Hoya was at the press conference, post-fight press conference for the Canelo fight with Kirkland, and he said, well, that's a fight that we'd have to wait 2 years to make. So, I mean, what's he supposed to do? Sit around for 2 years at middleweight waiting for a big fight? Whereas he moves up to super middleweight, it's a much more compelling division, number one. And number two, he's probably going to get a lot more money fighting some of these big name super middleweights than he is fighting these middleweights that he's fighting right now, taking nothing away from them, but they're just not on his level. So they got to make a decision. Are they going to move him up and get some compelling fights, some big money fights, or are they going to leave him here and he's basically fighting? It's an afterthought of what's going to happen at the end of these fights. It's basically a foregone conclusion every time you see this guy fight. There's just no mystery in what's going to happen when a Triple G fight is announced. It's like, okay, everyone on this panel said, it's going to be an easy fight. He's going to blow him out. How many times have we said that in the last year and a half? I mean, it's been repeated over and over again. So there's really no recourse but to move up, and I get killed for it. Well, give him a chance to clean out the division. Oh, he's too small. He's like 5'11". He's a decent sized guy. He's not tiny. He's so skillful and he hits so hard that it's almost impossible to think that power is not going to translate into 168. So I just think he should move up.
I would say this, that one, I think he's in line to face Miguel Cotto. I think Miguel Cotto has his voluntary with Daniel Gill. And then after that, I think he's supposed to face Triple G or give up his belt, if I'm not mistaken.
He'll give up the belt.
Yeah, he's not going to fight. Cotto's not going to fight Triple G.
Either way, Triple G's going to get another belt, which is good. The other thing is, in the 160 division, we have Endom, we have Chris Eubank. Well, I mean, if Willie Monroe can get Triple G, why not Chris Eubank? You know what I mean? We have Billy Joe Saunders. Right. We have David Lemieux. We have Sergio Mora.
1 minute,
We
Beats.
have
Sergio Mora.
we have
None
Sam
of
Solomon.
these fights are competitive. I'm
We have Andy Lee.
None
We
of them are
have
competitive.
Daniel
They're not-
Jacobs. We
Not
have Dmitry Chudinov.
Yeah.
We have
Not
Felix Sturm.
Oh my God!
No.
Okay.
That's
So we
what
have
a lot
all
of
of
these
these.
slaughter. It's murderous row,
We
bro.
have
Murderous row.
all of these people.
Dog
We have
against
all of
dog.
these people. We have all of these people in this particular division. So this guy's a 160 pounder. I think he should stay at 160 for now. Take your time, clean out your division, and then move up.
These
There
guys
are enough
How old is
there
Triple
are
G
enough-
right now?
There are
Triple
enough
G is
names.
32 years old. It makes no
He's
sense for him to waste
32.
13
There are
If
enough.
all he's gonna
guys, they're not going to fight him.
There are enough names in the division for Triple G to fight. The question, well, you can say what you want. The fruit of the matter is he has those people there to fight. Now the question is, why is he fighting Willie Monroe? That's what we are all asking.
It's a keep busy fight.
It's a keep
I
busy
think-
showcase bout. Period.
I believe it is to develop his style, and that's why they picked Willie Monroe, who is actually the least risky guy that he could have picked. That is a southpaw.
I think he was the only guy he could pick, to be honest with you. I don't think he had many choices at all.
Because he's, according to these rankings, he's number 2 ranked under Chris Eubank Jr. for the WBA, number 2 contender for the WBA belt.
I enjoy Triple G's keep busy fights. I only enjoy the fights Triple G keep busy if I know I can go buy a ticket and go see the fight. I mean, besides that, I mean, people have a very valid point. I mean, if no one's going to fight you, eventually you're going to have to move up. I mean, Sergio Martinez eventually did it. I mean, everyone's always done it. Does he have a chance to get more belts? Yeah, I think if he fights Andy Lee, that's probably about the only person that's going to fight him. After that, no one's going to really get in the ring with him. He can win WBC because of the fact that they probably will strip it and give it to Gennady Golovkin because he is not on the verge of ending his career, so they can make the most money off him as far as sanctioning fees. But after that, he has to eventually move up after those 2 scenarios, in my opinion. If he gets the WBO and the WBC, he's got to move up.
Does anyone think any of those names that were just mentioned can give Triple G a good fight?
And
no way.
I wouldn't mind seeing someone. I wouldn't mind seeing
But here's the thing, though.
He will not be able to. Will not deal with the first set of movements.
You won't put Endam in a freaking pine box, bro. There's no way Endam can be here.
But at the media,
No way.
I want to see that fight.
Triple G, who's 32, he said himself he's only going to fight for 3-4 years at most. Then he's going to retire. Why sit there and waste time fighting guys that he can beat when he should be able to step up and fight the big names and make the most money that you can, test yourself the most, and then get before you eventually.
I
think he's waiting for Canelo.
You know who's the guy who's guilty of this? His trainer. What's his trainer's name?
Abel Ortiz, right? Abel Sanchez.
He said that he would say he would fight anyone from 154 to 175, and then he backed off that.
He's not ready for that. That's the thing. Now, a lot of people are saying, oh, Abel Sanchez talks a lot of stuff that is just doesn't, I just listen. Triple G, first of all, has never made 154 pounds. The guy has been a middleweight all his life. He's saying he would go down to 154 and fight Floyd. He's never been at 154.
Let him come.
We don't know what toll it will put on his body.
Well, let him come. If he's saying he can do it, but Beats, you want to say something?
Abel Sanchez keeps on talking a lot of nonsense.
One minute. Let Beats jump in. Go ahead, Beats.
The reason why he is in no hurry is because he has a large section of fans who are defending him fighting guys like this. And this just proves to me that the fan base have no historical connection with the middleweight division and the fights that have been taking place. If they're accepting that, they're either extreme fanboys or they have no historical connection with the history of the division. From Harry Greb to Hagler to any of them guys. You just can't do. If you think the level of opponents defending the one WBA belt, I always give it. Who did he take the belt from? No one ever knows. What's the name of the guy he took the belt from?
What you need? Go ahead. What you need? Go ahead, Asad.
I have no idea, my brother. I have no idea. Some dude. I can Google it and find out.
Go ahead, Joey B. Do you know?
I think it was some Japanese guy or something. It was a vacant
it was
title.
eventually it was an interim belt that he took, but then he got awarded the full belt.
Yeah,
that's right. He had the
title he initially won.
They even won.
He was awarded full
he
champion.
officially won the belt. He officially knocked the man who beat the man who beat the man. Or he just
right.
I think it was Marco Antonio Rubio.
No, that was after. That was after. That was way after.
That was a terrible fight.
It was
Daniel
initially an interim
it
belt
wasn't.
he won.
It was friendly.
Interim belt he won in Germany.
No-name fighter.
Then he was initially.
No, but what it is, that's Beats' point. Go ahead, Beats. Make your point, Beats.
The point is, how is he the fan base defend this? But and look, Deontay Wilder comes under the most stick for his opposition, but it's okay for Triple G. No, just keep doing what you're doing. The double standards is absolutely. I don't understand it. I don't get it at all. I don't get it. I mean, I see Kovalev take on Pascal. You know, that's a top draw light heavyweight fight. So why is he exempt from what Kovalev is doing? Why?
What I want to understand is why are people giving Cotto a pass for fighting Triple G? Why is he getting a pass as well? Nobody's on Cotto for that either.
Why are they gonna get on Cotto? He just beat Martinez.
Yeah, and look. He won the title at 158, not 160, which means he did it just to take the belt. He's not serious about the division.
Well, then give up the belt and let somebody else vie for it.
Because Cotto is a diva who's going to go by his own rules.
Why are we blaming Cotto for? Blame Martinez.
Cotto's a diva who's his own boss, who goes by his own rules. That's why he's not giving up.
No. Martinez shouldn't have sold the belt out like that. He sold the belt cheap. He should have said, we should have forego the money. He's messed up his legacy. He should have said, you want to fight me? I'm the middleweight champion. Fight me at my weight. Because he sold himself out. Cotto only took what was there. So I can't blame Cotto. You can't go.
I'm blaming Cotto. But I'm also blaming Triple G because Triple G could easily have gotten a fight with Daniel Jacobs, who's right below him.
Does anybody know who Milton Nunes is?
No, that's the guy he beat.
That's the guy who
that's the guy he beat for his
WBA.
I'll tell you what, right? You see, you just said that name there. I'm going to come on here next week and ask you guys again who he beat. And you're not going to remember that name.
I'll forget it.
Of course we will, because I don't know who the guy is. Like, is he still fighting? Like, I don't even know if he's even.
Listen. I mean, he beats everyone decisively in this division. So if you're a boxing fan, why would you want to see that? Wouldn't you want to see him fight Andre Ward or
every ones that he's beaten are really kind of people we're now learning about, or they're good, but they're not that great.
Not bad fighters,
and
but
there's still great opponents there.
You're 100% right. They're not bad fighters. They're good fighters, but he's just that good. You know what I'm saying?
But we have the great fighters. We have Peter Quillen. We have Andy Lee. We have Endom. Why doesn't he fight Endom? I don't understand that. Endom's tricky.
I will give you this. From a stylistic standpoint, that's probably the most interesting fight. But the way Quillen's been fighting lately, the way Quillen's been fighting lately, like a deer in the headlights, Triple G would eat him up. And the way he's answering questions about Triple G, he's not a big name. He doesn't want to fight Triple G.
He doesn't want it. He doesn't.
My question is, the guys out there now, how great are they? How great are they? Look, James Toney made his first title defense against Reggie Johnson. Do you look at these guys and think they're on the level of Reggie Johnson?
No.
He even lost that fight. Now, Chris Gabat said that fight was close as well. You know,
Reggie dropped him. Reggie floored him.
He dropped him. I got the fight on tape. It can be argued that Reggie Johnson beat him that night.
Yeah, that's right.
I thought he won. I thought Reggie Johnson won.
Yeah, you see.
Look,
Roy Jones' first title defense was against Thomas Tate. Can you say any of these guys are that much better than Thomas Tate?
I take Lemieux versus GGG. That's how I just take something that's worth the while to watch. Didn't Lemieux just beat Gabriel Rosales? Just reconfigured his eye again. Rosado, yeah.
Hell,
Are
The
any of these
super middleweight
are any of these guys on the level of Mugabe
Right.
who
There
haven't
you go.
defended the title?
Okay, but that's going into nostalgia. What's nostalgia? All I'm saying is Triple G fights some kind of big name dude. That's all I'm
No,
saying.
it's not nostalgia. I'm just comparing
Any big name
opponents.
dude.
You made a comparison between
One
opponents.
at a time. One at a time.
Using historical precedent.
One at a time. Go ahead, Beats. Go ahead, Beats.
James DeGale, Andre Dirrell, Andre Ward, Ernest Rochard retired. They're all much better fights. Much better fights. You know what I mean? The middle, look, it's full of guys who haven't established anything, man. It's just full of that. Like, the more accomplished division is the one just above it. And anyone can see that. It doesn't take much. The Curtis Stevens fight, come on, man. That's not good middleweight championship boxing, man. It's not. It's just not, man. It's not. And he's filling his resume with fights like that. And look, fair enough. If that's what was there, yeah, fair enough. But after a time, you've got to do something else, man. And it's just people talk about his reign. They talk about his reign. Oh, look at his defenses. He's not a unified champion like Hagler. It's the one WBA belt. It's really not remarkable.
Go ahead, Joe.
Can I say something? The reason why all these fans don't care if he moves up or not is because people fall in love with knockouts. And even when Tyson was fighting guys that weren't, I mean, obviously it's not his fault, but he was fighting guys that really weren't great, and everyone was going crazy with that. As long as you're knocking guys out, you're putting on exciting fights, fans don't really care about who you're fighting. They just want to be entertained. Now, guys like us who actually like, boxing and like good matchups, we want to see him move up. But, people are just such a fan of his style that they defend him, and they don't want him to move up because they want to see him blow guys out. They want to see these slaughters. People
I like what Beeb's saying
What
because
happened to the concept of reaching for greatness?
Tyson was
what
unified.
I'm saying, though, is GGG has fought particular styles of fighting. Has anybody noticed that? He's basically been fighting B-level or C-level fighters of a particular come-forward, toe-to-toe style. So we don't know how good GGG really is. I mean, Daniel Gill was a good indicator to some degree, but how good he really is. So that's why I'm saying he's probably just improving. If he moves up a division, he might be exposed by guys like Dirrell, like guys like Ward, by guys like Groves, like guys like DeGale, because they can box.
You don't want to find out, though?
Absolutely, but I'm saying he's got guys in
Let me wait.
division
I
that
have a
can do it.
question. I have a question. Let's say G moves up. He has no guarantee these people are gonna fight him. There's no guarantee. Period.
They'll fight.
Just because they're fight 168.
They will fight him.
Who's gonna fight him?
They'll fight.
All I'm saying is he has the test right there in 160. Endom, right?
Endom is not a
He's got
test.
a guy who actually moves and boxes and knows boxing. And I'm telling you now, Triple G has a style like boxers do. And all you got to have is a really good jab, establish distance on this guy, because he's an inside fighter. He uses the jab to get inside. We want to see what he really is made of when you're fighting him on the outside.
Can you answer two questions? Can you answer two questions? I'm going to give you $100,000, right? I'm going to put a gun to your head, and I'm going to tell you to bet, right? Would you bet on Endom in that fight?
Absolutely.
And number two, if the over-under was 9.
Man, I'm Muslim. It wouldn't bet on Hassan Endom, okay? I'm not betting on him, all right? It's not happening.
This sport is not called knockout. It's not called hammer. It's called boxing.
I want to hear the bet. Let's Joe. I want to hear the bet. Go ahead, Joe. Put the bet.
Now, if the over-under was 9.5 rounds, would you take the over or the under?
What you need is talking.
What is that? What is over and under?
Over-under is if you bet on the fight. If it goes over 9.5 rounds, you could take the over, or you could take the under. It goes under 9.5 rounds. If the over-under was 9.5 rounds, would you take the over or the under?
Over.
I'd take the under.
Over.
You know what? I'd love to be the. I
saw Endom versus Curtis Stevens. I saw a lot.
Take your bet. I'd love to be the person to take your bet. With all due respect.
Number one, that's a wrong-headed comparison because Stevens doesn't throw nearly the punches that Triple G does.
Has nothing to do with throwing punches. It has to do with distance. It has to do with distance control.
but Golovkin is a little bit better at cutting off the ring than Steven is.
Had nothing to do with cutting off the ring. It has to do with distance control.
So where was Endam's distance control against Quillen?
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
He's a boxer. Like Endam.
So was Triple G.
No, he's a boxer, but he employs the Mexican style where you come in close. Quillen fights from the outside.
Who cuts off the ring better than Triple G?
Has nothing to do with cutting off the ring. Manny Pacquiao cut off the ring. It doesn't mean anything.
Distance control is nullified by somebody who's effective at cutting off the ring. That's part of distance control. That's part of distance
you can
control.
cut off the ring, but you can't get within a certain distance because of a jab.
Sure you can.
The nearest postcode for a decent fight for the guys at 168. That's undisputed. Not end that.
Watch Austin Trout versus Miguel Cotto again.
Hey, I'm going with Tyranno Johnson. I like Tyranno Johnson. Tyranno Johnson's the guy he wants to fight Triple G. He's the only guy calling for him. Triple G, they still yet ain't for him. I ain't thinking he's gonna win, but I like that style because he'll bring it. But he got knocked out by Curly Stevenson. But I like that going at him. Like he gonna give it to him, put some. But Triple G's just gonna be eating everyone. Like right now.
No. You know what I think people are bought into? The hype. He's been knocking out a lot of opponents, so people think, oh man, he's going to go in the ring, he's going to knock me out, he's going to close it down and knock me out. But I'm telling you, if you know boxing, just think about Castazoo. That's all I'm going to say.
Have you seen that overhead punch he does? That punch hits on the top of the skull.
Yes, but it's in close. He doesn't do it from out far.
You're absolutely right, but anyway.
He's got an outstanding jab that enables him to get inside.
That's to get in.
And he's got
to get on the inside.
Very deceptive quick foot speed. He's very good at throwing feints. He knows how to get himself in position to attack. He's very, very skilled.
Yes, but another skilled boxer who understands angles can deal with that.
Oh, that's the same story they told us about Manny Pacquiao, and then when we saw what the Angles did against Floyd Mayweather fight.
That's the thing with Floyd Mayweather. You just made my point.
Hey, you know what? We might on that segment we might as well skip onto that one right there. That Floyd Mayweather thing. What you guys? Everyone can jump in. What do you guys think about Floyd Mayweather's video on Showtime talking about how Manny Pacquiao not on my level and basically calling Manny Pacquiao a coward? Jump on that, right?
He's promoting. It's promotion. It's promotion. He needs to make a rematch is worth so much money. He'd be an idiot not to fight Pacquiao again. If it's easy money, beat him again for the money. If you're all about the profit, you're a boxer. You are a prize fighter. You take the most money possible in every scenario. So he's got to build the fight. He has to build the fight. If he just said, yeah, okay, people are like, well, he's going to say that because he thinks he can win again, so why buy the fight? He's got to build up a promotion.
1 minute, bitch, 1 minute. Hassan, did you have him winning? A Pacquiao winning the fight?
No, I didn't have Pacquiao winning the fight, man. No, I didn't.
I'm the big I know you.
But my story was a lot closer.
Huh?
My story was a lot closer.
What was your scorecard? What was your scorecard, bro?
To be honest, the first time watching it, I'm not gonna give my scorecard.
No, you're gonna get eaten. He's a hard fight.
Listen. I agree with the 116, 112, and I would not argue it. That's all I'm gonna say. But 118, 110 is a lot.
What about the injury? You buying the injury, right?
I don't want to because I think mentioning the injury is kind of
weak, bro.
It's weak. I'm not gonna lie, but is it real? Based on he has medical proof. Yes. Will it change the fight? No.
Okay.
It won't change the fight.
I jumped in with the injury.
Go ahead.
I'm not saying he wasn't injured, but I think the severity of the injury is grossly overstated.
I agree. I
think he possibly had micro tears because I have a torn labrum, and I can throw a right hand. You know what I'm saying? Because I have a tear that's not bad enough to let me have surgery. What I think happened, I think he got a debridement. I think he got some orthoscopic surgery to just clean out the excess debris from wear and tear over the years. I mean, if you take an MRI on just about every athlete and their shoulders and their knees or their wrists or whatever, you're going to find damage. It's wear and tear over the years, okay? So do I think the shoulder was injured? Yes. Do I think it was a major tear? Listen, if you have a major tear, we saw Vitaly Klitschko. He couldn't continue that fight against Chris Burke. He's sitting there going like this at the end of the fight. You know, he's going like this in the corner, and then he's throwing punches. He's throwing punches like this. Really, rotator cuff. If you try to do that, you're gonna be screaming. You're gonna be screaming and wincing in pain. So yeah. Did he have probably a micro tear, maybe a grade 1 tear in there, possibly a grade 2? Yeah. Did he have a grade 4 tear? Absolutely not. There's no way he'd be able to freaking throw that jab. You know, it's a disgrace. And not only that, I think he was told to bring up the injury by Bob Arum and Freddie Roach. And then at the post-fight press conference, he's saying it happened 2 weeks. Then Bob jumps in, no, man, it happened a month. So, I mean, you know, it's just hard to really put much stock into anything that comes out of that camp because everyone sings a different tune. He's not really his own man. He doesn't say what he wants to say. He's told what to say. It's not the same situation like Floyd Mayweather. He says what he wants to say, and then he puts a gag order on people and tells them, I don't want you saying anything. So they don't, you know, he could silence his camp, whereas Manny Pacquiao, he's got everyone talking out of school, so everyone's telling a different story. So it's really hard to take what they say seriously. But, you know, it's almost like the boy who cried wolf. Like, if you check off you're not injured, I understand why he checked off he wasn't injured. Because they didn't want to cancel the fight. They didn't want to postpone the fight because you never know what Mayweather, he may have said, fuck this, I'm not going to fight him now if he's going to postpone it. So I get that. But in the same token, you just don't bring it up then because it just makes you look bad. But, you know, Top Rank is pimping this guy out, and they're using this shoulder injury as a way to get a rematch to sell to the public that, hey, this wasn't the real Manny Pacquiao. This was a guy who was injured. Let's see what the real Manny Pacquiao will do against Floyd. Okay? Just look at that 4th round. The whole fight could be like that 4th round if Manny Pacquiao's shoulder wasn't hurt.
I mean, you know, Beeb has a point. Beeb has a point, and you know that's the promoter's job, though. The promoter's job is to get his fighters the best fights. I mean, and make the most money. So if you're Bob Arum, you do the same thing. If I'm a promoter, I'm saying, look, my fighter was injured. I want more money.
You're right.
I'm not buying the pay-per-view. I'm not buying the rematch. I bought.
Can I come in?
I'll buy 2 pigeons. I'll buy a pay-per-view with 2 pigeons fighting the street because I'm sick. But the thing is this: Assad, you're 100% right. But in the same token, do you realize what Bob Arum is doing and Freddie Roach is doing at Manny Pacquiao's?
Yeah, I realize it.
But listen, at Manny Pacquiao's expense, they're pimping him out there and they're making him look bad to the public, like he robbed the public, you know, and they're just really making him look bad at the expense of them making money. So they're pimping him out there. So they don't really care about the guy at all like they say they do. Oh, Manny's like a son to me. Oh, I love Manny. No, they're showing their true colors. They're pimping this guy out right now. They're selling this guy out. They're cashing this guy out. And they're making him look like an idiot just so they can get paid again. Yeah. Let's call it for what it is. These guys are scumbags.
You know what?
It's true, and I've said it many times, but at the same time, Manny Pacquiao, to me, I understand his image of playing the good guy and all that, but a lot of time makes me mad about Manny Pacquiao, even being a fan of him, is he plays dumb. He plays dumb, and he plays dumb very good. I understand if you're a little bit slower than everybody else, but he plays dumb, and he really does play it very well. And the thing that you have to respect about Mayweather's team is that Mayweather's team, he doesn't play dumb, and everyone does their job and does it right. How are you telling me in the biggest fight of your life, you can't guarantee that your fighter has the necessary medications that he needs? That would never happen in the Mayweather camp. It would never happen. Someone would get fired. He almost fired Ellerby just for placing his kid in the wrong area in the moment of the fight. Like, that's how Pacquiao needs to be. He needs to be OCD when it comes to his fights, and he's not. He just plays dumb. Oh, I don't know.
He doesn't have the power. He's on the plantation. He don't have no power.
And the fighters have the power. Fighters have power. It's when they
he has
choose
no
to use the power.
Leverage.
He has. Without Pacquiao,
Yes, he does. He's a congressman, and furthermore, Hassan, do you think Mayweather was running in the fight? Like, let me ask you. Do you think he was running?
I think Mayweather, the first half of the fight was. I didn't like his holding. I thought his holding was actually illegal in my opinion. I felt like he was yanking Pacquiao's arms. I was very mad about that. I was very mad. I didn't like it. I didn't like it. I didn't like it. I didn't like it. Sorry, I didn't like it.
I don't buy that.
I didn't like it.
Please.
That's my opinion.
No, that's cool. I know you. I know you're a hard Mayweather. I know you're a hard Pacquiao fan, and you want him to win badly. But there weren't no yanking on the arm. No, there weren't. No.
But I thought
Wait,
Mayweather was gonna win. Remember, I thought Mayweather was gonna win.
Nah, I know. But which round do you see him yanking on the arm?
I didn't see that.
Then I have to rewatch the fight, and I have to rewatch the fights. Remember being the first half, I got really mad. No, because I didn't rewatch it. I didn't rewatch it the second time. I didn't watch it the second time.
Even if he chime in, please. But even if he did, so what?
The problem is that my problem was the referee. The problem was the referee was like, many times Pacquiao was leading the referee like, what the hell are you doing?
People have to understand one thing about this sport. They really have to understand
the referee.
There's a very high tolerance for holding in this sport. Yeah. Referees very rarely take points away from holding. Lawrence Cole obviously does, but you very rarely see fighters get disqualified for holding. Last time I can remember someone got disqualified for holding was Henry Akinwande against Lennox Lewis. What year was that? I mean,
97. Do you remember when Gabe Ruelas fought Jeff Franklin? Right? You might remember.
Yeah.
Right? Ruelas was winning the fight, and he injured his elbow. Right? So when Franklin got
it dislocated,
he tried it. He tried it a couple. He couldn't grip it quite right the first time. And then I think it was the fourth round. He clinched it good this time. He wrenched it. And you see Ruelas scream out. Fight was over. Like, no one said that's unfair. Because he did what he had to do. He couldn't outbox Ruelas. So he did what he had to do. Listen, for anyone who says Floyd was aiming for the arm to win that fight there, you know,
I didn't think that.
I hope Santa comes through the chimney for you this year, and the Tooth Fairy comes down, because that's where you're at. There's no real boxing analysis by saying that, and anyone knows there's nothing in that. It's
but Beats.
Let me chime in. Please.
Well, go ahead, Mike.
First of all, in terms of the interview, do I think that Pacquiao is a coward? No. But is Mayweather right to talk about him being the superior fighter and all that? Absolutely, because he showed himself Saturday night. And in my opinion, I don't want to see the rematch. I know Aaron will try to hype it up, but that's largely for the gullible fools out there like Skip Bayless, who are giving Pacquiao every excuse in the book and want to see the Pacquiao because they think the 4th and 6th round was the real Pacquiao. No, the all other rounds, that was the real Pacquiao because Mayweather took his ass to school. In terms of the injury, do I think he was injured coming into the fight? Yes, but not to the degree that he made it out to be. Sure, he had surgery, but I bet you he'll come back quicker than they're anticipating. As far as a rematch, the reason I don't want to see a rematch because this has Pernell Whitaker and Buddy McGirt written all over it. For those who remember, McGirt had an injured shoulder going into the McGirt bout. As a matter of fact, he injured his surgery. He injured his shoulder prior to his previous fight, which was a mandatory defense against Gennaro Leon. Hurt it even further. So he was basically fighting with one arm with Whitaker. McGirt was begging for the rematch and whatnot. He had the surgery, and his shoulder was never the same again. And when they fought the rematch, Whitaker beat him worse. And if Mayweather and Pacquiao fought again, the same thing would happen that you saw in Whitaker McGirt 2. Now, in terms of this issue about him, Floyd holding and this and that and running and this and that, let's bring some historical aspect into this. Y'all know I have my issues with Floyd Mayweather outside the ring. But inside the ring, the man's a genius. And in terms of his style, did anybody complain at the way that Leonard fought in the second fight against Duran? Because they fought very much the same way. Did anybody complain when Pep beat Sadler in 49? Pep ran more in that fight than Mayweather did, and he held more. And yet people want to sit here and complain and fuss about what Mayweather did in the fight against Pacquiao? Come on, man. It makes no sense.
What about Ali? What about Ali? How many times did Ali hold in fights?
Absolutely. You guys are talking about guys that people like. They don't like Mayweather. Certain people don't like him, so they won't do that. They don't like him. That's what it is. They like Willie Pep. They like Ali.
Mayweather actually barely held in that fight. Barely.
I don't think he held a lot either.
They don't like him. So this comes down to the stuff outside.
And he did twist Pacquiao's arm.
Roy Jones, he fought in the same manner similar to what Roy Jones did against Tony.
There you go.
94.
That's true. But they like Roy Jones again. They like Roy Jones, but they like Roy Jones again.
And y'all know I have my issues with Mayweather outside the ring, but you can't knock what he does in the ring, and you can't knock his business over. In the ring, he was a
all that's
genius.
revisionist.
Saturday night.
All of
But
that.
outside the ring, that's revisionism. But that's outside
let me
stuff.
tell you
That's not
something.
issue.
Let me
But
tell you
inside
something.
the ring,
They used to say Roy Jones was boring. A lot of people don't realize that.
Yeah, they
they
did.
used to say Pernell Whitaker was
Roy
boring.
Jones was boring.
It's true.
They did.
Yeah, they did. It's true, they did. They kill off that. And, hey, listen, I reckon that contributed to him taking them drugs and stuff, man. Like, some of them close losses he got, like, they ain't
They used to
lose.
say the same thing about Pernell Whitaker here in the Beats.
Yeah.
The only thing I think Mayweather did where he sort of stretched the Queensberry rules was when he was roughhousing him by putting his weight over Pacquiao. But that's a move that you use. You lock, weight, pivot, and out. And he actually did it. And once the ref came down on him, Skip Bayless, he pulled up.
Pacquiao was coming in with his head, man. He's a short guy, innit?
Do you guys think Skip Bayless really thinks that Pacquiao won, or you think he's just trying to be the contrarian? He's just trying to be
really
Skip Bayless is a contrarian sports troll who's like that. Who's like a heel.
That's part of the show.
Yeah,
he's like I think he really believes that, though.
Nah. He just doing it
for a lot of controversial things just to get a rise out of people. See, that's how he got to where he is at ESPN.
Well, that's part of the show, Michael. He's got to disagree with Stephen A. Smith.
Because he gets ratings, he's going to continue to say that.
Yeah, and then there's some dumb people going to sit there and listen to it. Floyd was going to go on the show, but he said, I ain't going there with that dumb guy. It's no point. Like, but everyone burned out on that whole Floyd situation.
One thing I wanted to say about it, I think it was cowardly on Pacquiao's part not to acknowledge Floyd Mayweather as the champion. He was afraid to acknowledge him as champion, and so he went into all these excuses, and that's the cowardly aspect of the whole thing as far as I'm concerned.
And I hear your point, what you need about what Mayweather, what he may have done illegally, but I don't even take that away from him because there are fighters who've done more egregious things in the ring. Look at what De La Hoya he did against John Molina and other shorter fighters when they get close. When they get the chin to the shoulder, De La Hoya would purposely jump up and down, try to injure a guy's jaw. He did it throughout the John Molina fight.
Chavez did that too. Chavez Sr. used to do that all the time.
I'm not saying. I'm just saying.
You're not allowed to do that in the gym. They tell you to do that in the gym to get a guy to stop holding it.
And please don't let me mention what Jeff Fennick used to do back in the day. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, he was a pressure fighter. The pressure fighters.
Jeff Fennick was a dirty bastard in the ring.
but listen. Hey, what we saying? I want to see the rematch. I'll show you why. I want to see the rematch. I want to see the rematch. So I want to see him beat him again. I enjoyed it. I love the fight. I don't care what anyone says. Listen, I got 2 fights of the year: Mayweather and Pac. And I've got Deontay Wilder and Stavern. Them 2 fight there, I can sit there and watch them all day, man. Because the reason why, the criticism they laid on Deontay Wilder, he's too skinny, this, that, the other, and the third, and then he came through, I was good. Mayweather, he's scared of Pacquiao, he's a coward, this, that, the other. When he bashed up Pacquiao, I'm good. So you know what? I'm going back in there again. I won't mind seeing that. I'll pay my money for that seat. I'll pay my money. I want to see me beat him again.
Here's the other thing you're missing, Beats. The thing that disgusts me in the aftermath, this is one of the things I would defend Mayweather about, is the racist trolls who went off on him here on YouTube, on Twitter, on social media. I just do not want to see that again because it will get uglier in the rematch. I don't want to see it.
Parcel of boxing. That's what they're gonna do. That's not the reason I don't want to see the match. I mean,
that's just me. In my opinion, that's just me personally. I don't.
Well,
like
Michael wants to see this over.
I didn't like it in the aftermath of the second McDonnell fight when it really got ugly. It pissed me off. I just don't want to see that again.
Hey, say something bad against Triple G or Klitschko and see what's happening there. Like they're still around me. They just jump onto another bandwagon. The trolls ain't going nowhere. They find someone else to jump on. Kolev, Triple G. I'm not saying like Klitschko's fans are racist or nothing, but they're still around. They'll find someone else to jump on. So they're still around, my man. Go ahead, Beats.
But who do you think Mayweather should fight next? I'm not interested in seeing Pacquiao. I've seen everything I need to see. But who else would you want to see him fight?
That's a good question. Go ahead, you guys. Jump on that.
I think after that fight there, he might just ride out, just fight who he's going to fight, and then ride out with his money and his
I
dress.
think he should retire. Period. I don't period. End
I
up
think-
on the high.
I think he's gonna fight a real easy fight. I think he's gonna fight a guy like Danny Garcia. You know what he's gonna? You know how they're gonna sell the fight? Well, you know, I'm giving a young fighter an opportunity. I'm giving Danny Garcia a chance to take the torch from me. You know, I'm being this gracious guy that I'm on top, and I'm gonna let Danny Garcia have his chance at fighting a top fighter, making a big payday. I'm gonna, you know, this is the young lion versus the old vet. You know, that's how I think they would sell that fight, and it'd be an easy fight for Mayweather. And you know, obviously that's what he said he wanted after this fight, or his father said he wanted. He would prefer to see him fight an easy fight, and I think Mayweather's gonna fight an easy fight like that. That's what I see happening.
Yeah, that's a good fight. You see how Peterson just everyone had Peterson kind of winning that fight. Mayweather would do a better job. So
I
yeah,
had Peterson winning. I thought Peterson won that fight. 115.
you're right, man. That's a good solid fight, and he's a good solid name. You know?
I had Peterson winning by a humongously large margin.
I had Danny winning that fight.
I had Garcia
Me too.
winning.
I had Danny.
Yeah,
75.
Danny
Oh, I'm
winning.
surprised. Most people I talked to had Peterson winning. I'm surprised.
Yeah. When I watched it again, I had Peterson, but first take, I had Danny winning the fight. I just thought that as a champion, you know what I'm saying? I thought Peterson gave up too many early rounds. I know he clawed back in, but he gave up too many early rounds. That's, you know, and that was deficit.
An argument can be made either way. The fight was close.
Yeah, it was close. It was close.
They should have a rematch. That fight should be that's what I mean. That's what I don't understand. That
Won't be
fight,
a rematch.
you can't fight that close.
Never gives guys rematches who give them tough fights.
Yeah.
Boxing's the same.
Manny
Boxing is
Pacquiao.
so
Manny
much
Pacquiao's the
different
last
these
person to
days,
give
Beach.
rematches.
It won't happen. They won't have a rematch. Boxing is so much different these days.
Figueroa and Burns rematch. Peterson Garcia rematch. Too close for anyone to say they were superior.
It won't happen. They're protecting Garcia and they're protecting Figueroa. Sadly, it won't happen.
Do you think there'll be another Manny Pacquiao Marquez 5? I really want to see that.
I wouldn't mind seeing that.
I want to see it. I just want to see an action
Well,
fight, and that's gonna give me action.
I tell you what, Manny Pacquiao.
On the backs.
I tell you what, Manny Pacquiao's no Henry Armstrong. I tell you that. What are you talking about? Acne on the back? What are you talking about? You talking about the steroids?
Yeah. Do you see the acne on Pacquiao's back?
I did.
No, whoa. Let's talk about acne on the back. Certain people get acne on the back. I get acne on my back. I ain't taking a single steroid. I got a whole bunch of acne. It's just some people have acne on the back, some people don't. On the chest is a problem. On the chest is a major problem. On the back, to me, that's very normal. Very normal.
I don't think not in the boxing world. No, is it? How many boxers you see like they don't have that in boxing? They because they're always drinking water. Their pores are always open. That guy be taking something. That guy wanted to take his fix. That's why they injection. He want to take his fix just before the fight. That's
Come on, man. I mean, why are we still debating on Pacquiao taking roids or not? He did the Olympic testing. Do we need to go any further on the topic? I mean, he took it right. So if that's the case, we can make the same assumption for Mayweather. Why is Mayweather so fast still? We can make assumptions here or there all we want to. But if the guy takes Olympic testing, that's it. You can't debate that anymore. It's just a
acne
argument,
comes out
right?
after you withdraw from these things as well.
So you're telling me he
And this is
got
actually with
past
Marquez the same thing.
All right, let me ask a question. How many fights have Manny Pacquiao had acne on his back in the previous past? Even during his years where he was not taking Olympic testing, right?
None. That's my point.
None. So now he has them now. So
Because he's taking Olympic testing.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's not his first time taking Olympic testing, right? Did he take it with
That's
his
the
fight
first
with
time he's taking Olympic testing.
No, he took VADA for somebody else.
No,
Before
he
that
didn't
Mayweather
take
fight,
VADA.
did
He did VADA for Rios. Did he do VADA for Rios?
No,
I
didn't
thought
do
he
VADA
did.
for
I
Rios.
thought he did.
He used the WADA labs, but he didn't do VADA.
Oh, you did WADA?
Yeah.
They're all the same. They're different organizations. Not talking about who's better than better. They're the same thing, my guy. Like, why are we arguing over organizations?
No, they're not.
They're the same function.
No.
That's like arguing over Target and Walmart. It's all the same function.
One is the national body, but they're not all the same.
They're not all the same.
Yeah,
Okay.
I would think VADA would be one of the better ones because they actually catch people.
Funny, man. Pacquiao didn't give Mayweather his credit, yeah, and like people in the purists, they don't like that. The old school break. This is what I'm saying. When they talk about Henry Armstrong, see, they're not making that analogy about Henry Armstrong no more, because Henry Armstrong wouldn't say stuff like that. He never said nothing like that. When he was there swallowing his own blood, against I can't remember which guy was there in one fight. He never said nothing. He never even complained.
Civic. Civic. Probably the Fritz Civic fight.
No. Henry Armstrong wasn't Frixie Zibbit. I think it was Barney Ross. Yeah, I think it was Barney Ross. Like when he was there with his own blood, when they cook comparisons to old school fighters, Manny Pacquiao, like no man, they don't say stuff like that. And you know, Manny Pacquiao, yeah, all these things coming into that mega fight, he's hurt his legacy. This has seriously dented his legacy. You know what, fighting a Mayweather. I don't know how he's gonna come back out from that mentally. Freddie's fighters are in question. All these fighters, they're looking terrible. They're all losing, and people are looking at how they even made Freddie 7 years time train fighter of the year. Alex Arida's interview is crushing because how you got Freddie Roach trainer of the year? Look at his body. Look how broken down he is. Oh man, that was horrible.
I was going to ask about that. How come we hadn't heard any criticism of Freddie Roach post fight? Because where was the plan B?
Yeah, where was
just at all?
Yeah, none. He goes, you need to get
Freddie Roach is trash. Freddie Roach.
He said he should get him against the ropes and pound him. That's what you need to do. Get him against the ropes and pound him. Don't let him off. Because when you had him on the rope, you shouldn't have let him off. That's what Freddie said. Manny ain't dumb now. Manny was trying to set traps in there. Like you said, what you needed, Cobra and the Snake in it, or something like that. And it was a Cobra and the Snake.
No, I think the problem with Manny Pacquiao is that he when you're stuck with Freddie Roach, you don't evolve. You just don't evolve. It took Amir Khan to go to Virgil Hunter to evolve. You just don't evolve defensively. He's not a defensive-minded guy to the point it's like he's retarded. Like he doesn't know what defense is when he coaches his fighters. It's ridiculous.
The only chance Pacquiao ever had, I don't care when they want to say he was running through people, like, is a punches. No. Can't box nothing like that. It's a punches. What he had? Punches chance and nothing.
Amir Khan's going to get eaten the same way, bro. Amir Khan's going to get beaten the same way, bro. They're so limited.
I think the difference with Manny Pacquiao is Manny Pacquiao has the athletic ability. He's not like he's unteachable. You can teach him defense. Freddie Roach just doesn't teach him. He just doesn't teach him. I think Floyd Sr. said it best when he goes, Freddie Roach was never a good trainer. Manny Pacquiao was good before he got to Freddie Roach. And Floyd Sr. even admitted to this. And I think that really was the case. And that's why he kept winning all these Coach of the Year awards, is because his fighter was winning. That's it. Like I thought Virgil Hunter has done better years. I thought Garcia did some good years with fighters. There's a lot of different people that should have won that award in the years that Freddie won them. Way better people, as far as coaches.
Yeah, I agree, man. I agree, boy. All right, one more fight we're gonna go into, and then we leave it as that. Yeah, Roman Gonzalez, El Chocolito versus Edgar Soka. Michael, you start on that.
There you go.
Go ahead, man.
Chocolito.
Chocolatito, one of my favorite fighters. Won Division 3-time world champion. Edgar Sosa is past his prime. Chocolatito, this is a showcase fight for him on HBO. It will be an exciting fight. But Sosa, he's slow. He's in his lower to mid 30s now. Chocolatito, with his consistency, with his body work, Sosa can't move. He can't get away from him. Gonzalez, he will win, and he will win in very impressive fashion, period. Bring on Inouye. That's all I want to say. Bring on Chocolatito and Inouye.
Yeah, that should be a good fight. Anyone else want to jump on that about Chocolito?
Now, until he fights Inouye or Estrada, I'm not really.
It's true.
It's a one-sided fight, but it's a good intro to the mainstream media.
I didn't finish my point, sorry. Not disrespectful to them weight divisions, but until them fights happen, then, them guys need to be fighting regular. The Estrada, Chocolitos, in them divisions, them fights need to happen more often than they are. Because right now, them divisions are their least popular. Like before, I used to know all the flyweight champions, Gilberto Romans and Ricardo Lopez's, but now it's just like minimum weight and this shit. It's just like no. It's a little
Roberto Gonzalez.
The sad thing is, Beats, when you look at flyweight at the top, especially with Estrada, with Chocolatito, with Rung Roy at the top, is one of the better divisions in the sport. And when you look around, you got Inouye at 115. You got some good, decent competition at 108. They're wasting opportunities.
I don't know. What was you saying, Habib? I don't know what Habib was saying.
Oh, I was just saying, remember Humberto Gonzalez and Michael Carbajal? None of those fights?
Yeah,
Tapia, Too Sharp Johnson, Romero.
Oh, great fights, man.
Fighters overseas, the Korean fighter Yu, even the Vision Up, Calcite Galaxy. There's always been talent there.
Yeah, with HBO, I think they're gonna adopt Chocolito like they did Carvajal and
yeah. Shout out to HBO, man, for giving these guys some exposure.
That's wrong. That's wrong, EJ. HBO didn't adopt Carvajal. He only fought one time on HBO.
Really? Didn't he fight with Go ahead.
Do you know that Carvajal used to fight a lot on network television? He fought a lot on network television.
Carvajal, his career began at ESPN and ABC.
Yeah, ABC.
Aram, as a matter of fact, he eventually moved on to Don King. He fought on Showtime a couple of times, but he only fought one time on HBO against Jacob Malala on the undercard of Tapia and Romero in July '97.
Shit. No, what I mean is that a network, at least a network, is adopting him, a major network like a HBO. You know, when like you said, he Carvajal was with Bob Arum, whatever. But so they obviously we're gonna see more of his fights in the States. But against this opponent here, he's just gonna carve him up. Like, he's really good, Chocolito, but you know, there's not much. You know, like the Nui fight in Japan and stuff like that. The guys don't know who these guys are, so maybe they're gonna get more exposure. But Nui, that fight there, but he's in a higher weight class, so that fight is not gonna happen. You know, it's not gonna happen. Like the one Estrada fight is probably the most likely one. But
But sadly, what I'm hearing, they talking about Estrada fighting Valoria again. I don't want to see that.
Yeah, so yeah, man. All right, anyone else want to say anything on that before we wrap up, man? This has been a good debate, bro.
Great show.
Yeah.
I heard there's gonna be there'll be Porter versus Broner. I heard about there might be that fight, or there's gonna be that fight.
Yeah, we have to see. Yeah. Nothing's confirmed on that, but we have to see in that. But boy, man. Hey, man, we're gonna wrap up.
Vargas versus Timothy Bradley.
Yeah, maybe. Let me wrap up then. Like, all we're gonna do, just go through, guys. Just tell people where they can find you and stuff like that, and we go. Assam, go ahead, tell people where they can find you, my man.
I don't do Twitter or nothing, man. You can find me on here only.
Assam's hard, man.
I'm graduating on college on Thursday, man. I ain't thinking about nothing else besides graduating, man.
All right, man. Good job, Assam. All right.
Congratulations, bro.
Yeah, congratulations. Hey, go ahead, Boxing Beats. Boxing Beats around. Tell people where they can find you, bro.
Yeah, Boxing Beats on YouTube mainly, Facebook, and Twitter too.
Alright. That's the boxing encyclopedia over there, man. Boxing Beats rhymes. Go ahead, Joe Habib.
I'm always on Twitter at jhabib1. You can find me over there. Facebook, Joe Habib's my name. My YouTube channel, I don't really do too much on my YouTube channel anymore, but I'm on Wingy's podcast a lot. I do podcasts with Lukey from Twitter as well, so I'm around. I'm out there.
All right, man. Cool, man. Go ahead, Michael. Pound for Pound Boxing Report.
Yeah, Pound for Pound Boxing Report, weekly YouTube show and podcast as well as blog. If you want to find information about the Pound for Pound Boxing Report, check the blog page, P4P Boxing Report.wordpress.com, where you can find articles and whatnot by yours truly, as well as special contributor Gail Falkenthal and Haley and Lewis on Twitter. Also, you can, on the blog page as well, you can find links to where to find us all over the internet, all over social media, Facebook, the 2G Plus pages, Twitter, Podomatic, where you can find previous episodes of the podcast, Pinterest board. We got a Tumblr page, RSS feed. We're on Stitcher Radio as well as a link where you can donate your Twitter account. So there you go.
All right, man. Thanks, man. Go ahead. What you need?
Oh, just I'm What You Need, WATTUNED on YouTube.
Cool, man. Well, EJ Boxing Live, my YouTube. Catch me here. I'm on Twitter as well. EJ Boxing Live here. It's been a good show. Some of the best channels on YouTube over here came over. We're gonna try and do next Sunday again. Cover the Triple G thing. By the way, Michael has a show on Thursday. Hopefully, some of you guys try and get Michael's details so you can try to jump on his show on Thursday. So, Friday. Thursday going into Friday. Jump on that show. Other than that, man, it's been a great show. Thanks for listening, and we'll catch you on the next one. All right? Peace.
All right.